Or do we wait till like just before? Yo, what is up, Sports Frenzy Universe? It is me, Freddie Aloso, alongside Joey the Eagle. What's going on, guys?
First of all, I have to lower this echo because you are entirely too loud in my ear. All right, that feels better.
We are coming to you guys live from the Bear Cave Studios. So it is me, your host, yours truly.
There we go. I don't look cross-eyed.
You don't look cross-eyed. There we go. We're looking right at the camera. We're live. We're waiting for the live draft coverage. We got a lot going on tonight. NBA draft, first round and second round, all in one. Unlike the NFL draft, which is basically 17 rounds spread out over 4 days.
It's a nice a 3-day journey with the NFL draft. The NBA draft's a lot shorter. You get first and second round done. I think it leaves a lot of intrigue with the undrafted players. Since there only is 2 rounds, there's a lot of players that don't get drafted. If you look at this Raptors team that just won the championship, you got a player like Fred VanVleet out of Wichita State who wasn't drafted, should have been drafted, but at the end of the day, he got his opportunity, led them to a G League title with the 905 Raptors, and then he was able to pay it off with an NBA championship while being a heavy contributor to that championship.
Right. And we are coming off of the championship of the Toronto Raptors. MVP, Kawhi Leonard. You guys, I'm sure you guys already know this, so this isn't news to you, but we're just updating it. Big draft. I'm pretty sure the consensus number one is going to be Zion.
Yeah, I think this draft, at least for the first 3 picks, it's really not going to be anything too spectacular as far as any trades or any players drafted that weren't supposed to be drafted where they're drafted. Everyone knows that Zion Williamson is going to be the first pick. Then you're going to have John Morant, and then you're going to have R.J. Barrett for your Knicks, as long as they don't trade out.
Hopefully they don't trade out.
No,
we're hoping
listen,
they stay in their spot.
Here's my thing. With all the Knicks fans complaining about them working out other players, the draft is held in New York, obviously, at the Barclays Center. So if you have all these other prospects that are around and want to get some shots up, you'd be a fool not to attend those workouts.
Right.
You got when Phil Jackson was there, you couldn't get him to stay up during a workout. Now you got a GM and a coaching staff that actually wants to work out more players, and fans are having a problem with that too. If you get offered a Godfather package to move back, and you could still get someone that you view as an all-star, perennial all-star player, then that's something you got to take into consideration. So I think it's just due diligence.
Right. I agree with you. We got Adam Silver. He is on the podium right now as we speak. ESPN just switched over to their live coverage of the draft. Let's get our Instagram audience in on here too.
Yo, we watching this on mute?
We'll turn it up a little bit.
All right, thank you.
We don't want to go too loud. We don't want to get pulled off of YouTube.
Oh, yeah, we can get pulled off of YouTube.
Yeah,
right?
that can happen. So we don't want to. What is up, Sports Frenzy Universe? Me, Freddie Aloso, Joey the Eagle, here coming to you guys live from the Bear Cave Studios.
I gotta get a little closer to you, man. This Instagram feed just got your big head ass in it.
We are right now live on YouTube. Go over to the YouTube channel, The Sports Frenzy Podcast. We are doing live coverage of the NFL draft.
Wow, someone
my
is
bad.
already wanting to do
NBA draft 2019.
Scott, what do you think about Zion's Miami Vice look right here? He got the, you see the
all white.
But I'm talking about, he got the 3 buttons undone.
Yeah.
No chest hair popping out just yet. He's still a young whippersnapper. Yeah. But he's got that Miami
hasn't
Vice
come
look.
in yet.
I also peeped. Did you see his watch?
No, I didn't peep his watch.
My man got a watch on. I think it's a Rollie. I think.
I see it from here. I can see it from here. That is bright and shiny.
Yeah. So I don't know why they have the Pelicans on the clock. Everyone knows that they're going to have
Zion. Yeah.
I'm really not sure why they have this build-up. I guess it's to play things like this, right, to get everyone informed.
Get everybody hyped.
About the Anthony Davis trade. And that trade isn't even official yet. So hopefully they don't hit any snags in the road
Yeah,
That'd be kind of awkward.
That'd be awkward as hell.
So I think for New Orleans, man, I think this is huge for them. I think with them winning the draft lottery was gave them a big relief in being able to make that Anthony Davis trade with confidence, because you're going to have somebody that comes in, and Zion is going to come in and make an immediate impact. I mean, the way he plays both ends of the floor, I think, is what separates him from other players in the draft. They just showed a clip of him blocking a corner three from a Virginia Tech wing player. I guarantee you 99.9% of the players in the country cannot get out and block that shot. They just can't get to it.
They don't have the recovery speed.
They don't have the speed. They don't have – this guy's bungees are unreal. Like, I know they want to put unfair titles on him and say, you know, he's the next – I've heard some people say LeBron. They really need to pump the brakes on that. He's not LeBron. I'm not knocking him. I think he's going to be the first of his kind. Just like we say LeBron's the first LeBron, Zion's going to be the first Zion. But to compare him to someone like LeBron James this early is crazy, because the only reason why they're comparing him to that is just the physicality and the way he plays the game. But other than that, their games could not be more different. Zion isn't the type of passer LeBron is coming out of high school. I think LeBron's jump shot was a little bit more developed than Zion's was even coming out of high school. We don't see LeBron as a knockdown shooter. And I think Zion will eventually be able to at least stretch the floor a little. He really doesn't need to do three-point range, although I think eventually he'll be able to get out and shoot the ball from three-point range. But I just think that the only comparison I can make to Zion is the impact on the game he might have is comparable to what LeBron had coming out. But I just don't see their games being – I would love to crowd surf like that.
That'd be dope.
But I just don't see their games in any way, shape, or form mirroring each other. They're just two different players.
You're right. I agree. We also have right now the pick is in. The commissioner should be walking to the stage and announcing that Zion Williamson is the number one overall pick. Guys, leave us your comments and feedback in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yo, so listen, this guy, you see that picture? They just showed him a picture of him flexing his biceps. All right, if I was built like that, I would flex too. There was some guys listening to ESPN going into work earlier today, and some guy had the nerve to call up and say, "Don't you think Zion should lose some of that baby fat?" Guys, just because he is the second heaviest player in the NBA now does not mean it's how you carry the weight.
Yeah,
he's 280, but watch him play. He doesn't move like someone that's 280. He's not built like someone that's 280. I mean, the things he can do on the basketball court are they're really amazing, dude. This guy,
he's literally blowing out of his sneakers.
This guy's look at this block he's about to catch.
It's insane.
That's amazing. I'm telling you, there's not many NBA players, forget college players, that can do what he does on both ends of the court.
It's true, man.
He gets a steal, it's over. It's over.
It's a wrap.
I love watching him play. He's going to be a monster. He is going to be, and then you put him with a player like a veteran guard. What I like is the Pelican situation he's going to. I do like the guard. Like, they have Drew Holiday now. Well, he's going to have Drew Holiday now to play with, who's a veteran guard who will be able to run the team and get Zion the ball where he needs to get the ball.
Right. We got our boy, Ali Al, from That's a Fact podcast and the Fight Dialogue watching in. He says he's more of a Sean Kemp, Charles Barkley-esque type player. I would say I agree with that, but you also got to add in the athleticism of, like,
I think
Kobe, LeBron. They just put
Blake Griffin up on the screen, right? Yeah. That's in college, as far as just the dunks that he catches.
Oh, yeah.
That's who he reminds me of, is Blake Griffin early on, when he would come in and he would just throw it on anybody and have no mercy for anybody's soul. Ask Brandon Knight about that. So I just think Zion has a package that I've never seen before. Like, you can see bits and pieces of his game, a la from Charles Barkley, Sean Kemp. But every player that you bring that you can say, oh, he kind of mirrors him, he's either that player on steroids or he has an attribute in his game that those other players didn't have.
It is now official. Zion Williamson is the first pick in the 2019 NBA draft, going to the New Orleans Pelicans.
Worst kept secret.
Yeah, worst kept secret ever.
All right, and another thing I want to say, though, a lot of these people that are coming out and saying high school players shouldn't go to college, I'm not saying whether they should or they shouldn't. I think that should be dependent on they should have the availability to go. But just think of this. When Zion was coming out last year, R.J. Barrett was considered a better NBA prospect than Zion. R.J. Barrett was the #1 player in the class, not Zion. So Zion went to Duke with R.J. Barrett, showed he was, the best of the best. He showed why he was the man. That Duke team was nowhere near as dominant.
He showed up and showed out.
Exactly. So he put in the work at Duke and didn't go in as the #1 recruit in their own class. And now he's the #1 pick in the NBA draft. So while I do think the whole college using these kids for basically free labor and making billions at the end of the day, I don't think that's right. There also are perks to playing in the college game, and Zion proved it this year.
The Grizzlies are on the clock. The consensus is that it's going to be Jay Morant.
I mean, everything they've done so far points to Morant being the pick. They got rid of Mike Conley, who's been there forever and a day, who I think is going to be a great fit in Utah with Donovan Mitchell. So they need a lead guard. They need a point guard. So Ja Morant's the best point guard in this draft. I love watching Ja play.
Yeah.
I love watching Ja play. Ja, he's so athletic. He carried that team.
Yeah, he really did. All the way to the freaking tournament.
Yeah, and he had 60% of the offensive production in his college team.
Right.
Was either him scoring or him assisting.
Right.
I mean, on the same team, they did have the defensive player of the year for that conference, so he wasn't totally alone. But you watch him play, and he's amazing. There's nothing that Ja won't be able to do on the court. He's got great vision, and I don't mean just vision like, oh, that man's open, kick on the ball. I'm talking great, where like there's not a passing lane there, but he'll be 2 steps ahead, and he'll get that ball to the player. Not just get it to him, but get it to him where they need it. Like for example, you don't need to give a spot-up shooter the ball, 3 feet in front of where he's comfortable shooting, because then he's going to have to put it on the deck, and that might not be a strength of his game. Ja is the type of point guard that knows that. He'll take the extra 2 dribbles, let his man set up in the corner. A lot of Memphis players are going to be happy to have Ja Morant once he does get picked.
Nice. So we are going to cut the Instagram feed right now. Instagram, find us on the YouTube channel, The Sports Frenzy Podcast. We are live, and we will see you on there. Peace. So Zion is still giving his post-pick interview right now. Grizzlies are still up. Let's just recap some of the trades from just before the draft. We had the Pelicans trade the 4th pick to Atlanta. Let me just pull up the exact specifics on this.
Everybody traded out of the top 10.
Yeah.
Once you get, and this is what happens when you get a draft like this, where the consensus is the top 3 players are can't miss, quote unquote, prospects. Yeah. There is a bit of a drop off in talent when you go from 4 or 5 and so forth. That a lot of the teams sitting at maybe 5 who feel that there's a whole bunch of players kind of in that mix for about the same draft grade. Right. If they can move out of there and get other assets and still get a player that they consider on the same level as what they would have gotten originally, that's why you're going to see a lot of trade and player movement, and you've already seen it.
Right. So the Hawks traded up to 4. So the Hawks turned around and got the 4th pick, the 57th pick, Solomon Hill, and a future 2nd-round pick. The Pelicans get the number 8, 17, and 35th overall pick. And then also we had the Suns trade out of the 6th pick. They traded it to the Wolves. Minnesota gets the 11, or no, they send the 11th pick and Dario Saric to Phoenix for the 6th overall pick. That's the recap of the trades thus far. The Grizzlies are about to pick, and it's official.
Ja Morant.
Ja Morant.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. He is such a good point guard.
It's a solid pick, man. I think it's a good pick for them. They made the room for him, so I'm pretty sure everybody knew it was going to happen. Anyways, you can't pick this guy or trade Mike Conley and then go somebody else.
Yeah,
not fill that hole at the 2 with the point guard.
In a league now where I feel like every team has a perennial all-star point guard. I mean, in my opinion.
So you're taking shots? That's what we're doing already?
Oh, your Knicks? Oh,
the Knicks are just on the board.
We'll get to them next because Ntilikina is working out great.
You're already throwing shade. Okay. All right, cool.
Cool. When you drafted him, all right, listen.
I see you wearing your all-star Dame Lillard shirt.
Listen, for the record, I am a Heat fan.
Yes.
I am a Heat fan. But he was nice enough to make a bet with me, lost the bet.
I pay my bets, ladies and gentlemen. I pay up.
He's a Lannister. He's a Lannister. For all those of you that watch Game of Thrones, you pay your debts.
I do. I pay my debts.
I haven't had any debts to pay when it comes to the betting of the jerseys just yet. We're working on it. Maybe we'll make some NFL. He actually just bet me another jersey on a side note for the Eagles-Bills game. I'm going to get another jersey. So if y'all want to help me, we can make this a joint effort.
We'll see about that.
You guys tell me what I should pick out, and I might have to order that jersey because.
Are you going to have to get the new Monstars jersey?
I am going to get the new Monstars. Listen, Damian Lillard is my favorite player in the league, bro. You know.
We also, speaking of that, we got the news last night. Space Jam 2.
Hold on. Before he finishes, right now they're saying team needs for the Knicks, and it literally just said everybody.
Oh, that's great.
Every other team.
That's just disrespectful.
I mean, I know.
I get it. It's true, but that's just disrespectful.
So they just put up, just to digress a little, they just put up for John Morant, De'Aaron Fox as a comparison. His
and
body.
No. Chauncey giving their.
Yeah. Gotcha. De'Aaron Fox and him, they're both lanky guards. You can see it now. He's not the stockiest guy in the world, but by no means is he a pushover. He plays a lot stronger than his frame might indicate. He is De'Aaron Fox with the quickness, the anticipation, and everything like that. But go watch some of his YouTube videos. I love De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is not getting up like my boy Josh.
Is it just the dreads? Is that what they're doing too?
No, I think they do have a lot of similarities in the way they play. They're both really silky smooth.
Yeah.
I think he reminds me athletically more of like they had Russell Westbrook. A lot of his dunks
very similar.
Yeah,
you see that aggression coming out in the dunks.
Yeah, I think for this draft, I think Zion has the potential and will be an All-NBA player sooner than later. And I feel the same way with John Morant. I think he's going to be at the very your floor with him is you're going to get an all-star player
right.
At the bare minimum.
At the least, yeah.
Yeah, at the bare minimum, you're going to get an all-star player. And I think the same for R.J. Barrett. I think after that, like any other draft, it's more of like a crapshoot.
Yeah. But going back, Space Jam 2, official news last night, we got the players that will be in it. LeBron James.
Well, yeah.
AD. Klay Thompson.
Which I'm interested to know. I mean, he just tore his ACL, so I don't know how that's going to affect film. I don't really know if he's going to be able to do it. So they might have to get a sub for that. But continue.
Yeah, they might have to. Diana Taurasi.
Chica Ball. Get buckets.
Your boy Dame.
Dame Lillard.
And the sisters.
Yeah. Go ahead. You the one that does the hard names in the UFC.
And Geechee.
Wow. I think that's closer than I would have said.
Right? Something like that. I'm not the best at pronunciation. Go ahead.
I wasn't too hyped when I heard that they were going to do a Space Jam 2 because I feel like Space Jam is a movie that should have never been redone.
It was a classic.
Yeah, you just don't touch it. Now, they happen to have Dame in it, who I'm a big fan of. Diana Taurasi, who I'm a huge fan of. I love watching her play ball. So because I see the characters in it and who's going to be involved, I'm going to watch it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I just feel like LeBron making another Space Jam movie is not something that I was really looking forward to.
My boy Spike is in the crowd right now. The Knicks pick is in.
R.J. Barrett about to walk up in his pink suit.
Yeah.
He seems, for all these Knicks fans that wanted Zion, and no doubt Zion would have been the best pick for them if they had their choice of the litter. I think for what they need on their team, RJ Barrett, personality-wise, fits him to a T. If you look back when he played on Duke, he was the only Duke player who didn't miss any time. I know Zion has missed some time with injuries. You had Cam Reddish, who was in and out of some games. I think he missed 2 games. No. I think it was 1 game in the NCAA tournament. RJ Barrett shows up to play every day. If he's got nagging injuries, he's going to show up to play every day. And you go back to his high school days, I mean, the man's a winner.
There we go.
He's a winner, and I think he's going to be able to handle, all the criticism with New York. If you watched him play at Duke, he wanted every big-time shot, for better or for worse. I mean, I'm not going to say that all the shots he took in those moments were good shots, but in New York, when they're desperate for talent, you want a kid that's going to come in and be a killer right away.
Yeah.
So I think him, Knox, Mitchell, Dotson, I think they do have some talent on their roster. Obviously, I don't see them making it into the playoffs. Depending on how free agency goes, you'd have to think with KD being injured and then Kyrie possibly going to Brooklyn. But then there's also rumors that he may not go to Brooklyn. It depends on what the Knicks do, but I do think at the end of the day, they got the pick right.
Yes,
so many times I feel like the Knicks missed that guy by a pick or two. I think this was a home run hit for them. As long as the Knicks finished within the top 3 picks, any team finished within the top 3 picks of this draft, you are going to get a player that is going to be an all-star. RJ Barrett is going to be an all-star. He's a lefty. I love lefty players. Ever since I started watching basketball with Michael Redd, I don't know if you remember him on the Bucks. I love lefties. He's gonna get better as a shooter percentage wise. You just see it with his mechanics. He has a very fluid jump shot. Like they just said, great in transition. I think this is where the Harden comparisons come, because if you look in transition, he initiates contact kind of like Harden does, and he's strong at the point of attack to where if you bump him, it's not gonna matter. He's gonna finish that play.
He's got the physicality that.
So let's see who Chauncey thinks he's like.
Yeah, let's see.
Jalen Rose. All right, bringing it back there. How would you feel if the Knicks ended up with Jalen Jr.?
I'd be okay with it. Jalen was very serviceable. He was a perennial all-star. He did come and play for New York.
Yeah,
it was a brief period towards the end of his career on his way out. But I wouldn't be mad at it. We have the 4th pick is up right now.
So this says Lakers, but
it says Lakers.
Lakers are going to pick again. The Anthony Davis trade isn't official until July 6th.
That's right.
So, like I said,
I hate that they do this. I hate that the NBA does. That's the one thing that.
Well, here's the thing. And yes, there's a 99.9% chance that this trade with Anthony Davis goes through.
Right.
It's going to take a miracle for it not to. But what I will say is, could you imagine if there was a hiccup? The Lakers go and make this pick for the Pelicans, you would have to think. Trade falls through and they end up with a player that they necessarily didn't want.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a little tricky.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see who the Pelicans go for here, / Lakers go for here.
Yeah.
Like I said, this to me is when the draft is really, really going to start. You're going to see,
after the first 3,
You saw a lot of movement already. You got players in and out, teams in and out. So I'm curious to see where a couple of these. Oh, and listen, he showed up with a Barrett jersey. They didn't boo him this time.
Oh, was that the Porzingis kid from years ago? I think it was.
It might have been. Yeah. That kid's got way more airtime than necessary.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that serious. He shed a few tears, and that was it.
Yeah. That's it.
I think KP went and gave him a jersey, which is on sale at Modell's for $2 now.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why he's still getting that type of shine. And if anything, the Knicks, if you guys really want a point guard, Steve Nash is kind of sort of related to RJ Barrett.
He did put up.
That's his godson.
Yeah.
You can bring some Steve Nash into it. How about that?
Yeah. Special advisor
to the Knicks, nah.
It's cool to see this, man. A young buck in RJ Barrett overcome with emotion, doing his post-draft speech, and it's just a cool feeling. I'm sure every person out there would have to agree that they would be overcome with emotion. Like you work your whole life for a certain dream to happen, and it finally comes true, and there you go. Now you're on the biggest stage, getting drafted by the New York Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as good as you are in high school, you still hope and wish. There's so many factors that play in. I mean, they're really good at pinpointing the players in high school now with the ESPN Top 100. Most of those players do pan out, but you do see the occasional player that just flames out. They're in the ESPN 100 and then they never make it to the league. So let's not get it twisted. And I know these players started off their college career basically in the draft room already.
Right.
But it's still a major accomplishment for them. They're still finally realizing something that they've dreamt for and, worked tired. The sacrifices that these kids make at an early age to be competitive and to make it to this level is crazy. You got these kids waking up at 4:30 a.m. to get shots up, in high school before some of them miss their prom. They do sacrifice a lot. I mean, at the end, you have to say it's worth it. Yeah. But these guys sacrifice a lot to be in the position that they're in. I couldn't imagine being that young.
You sacrifice your childhood, basically.
You do, but you have a dope-ass adulthood.
Yeah, for real. Your adulthood definitely makes up.
Yeah, you leveled up.
Yeah.
So the pick is in. They have it. The pick is in for the Lakers / Pelicans.
/ Hawks.
Now that we're doing the slashing, can I bring up other sports too, or is that?
Go ahead, man.
All right, cool. Did you see the race news today that they're trying to split time?
Yes, I did see that. The race trying to split time.
Has that ever happened before?
No, that's never happened before.
Because to me, that was just weird, bro. You know what I was thinking? So, the Giants should probably, you guys are the New York Giants and you play in New Jersey. You guys should build a stadium in New York and come play half the year in New York, half the year in New Jersey. That's just so weird to me.
Well, they could just come to Buffalo and play in Buffalo.
Buffalo's not a part of New York. I know they joke and say where we are in Rockland. Well, yeah, you're still considered?
No, Orange.
You're in Orange County. All right, yeah, we're upstate for him.
Yeah.
For me, Rockland County, that's not upstate. If you guys would take out a map, you ask anybody in the city, we're upstate. Once you cross that TZ, now it's the Cuomo Bridge.
Yeah.
I'll never call it the Cuomo Bridge.
The
Once you
bridge.
pass that bridge, you're like, oh, you're upstate. No, bro, I'm not upstate. I'm 20 minutes over a bridge from you. It's really not that serious. But you start going up to Buffalo, Onondaga, Portland, Oswego, that's upstate.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Your dog's wilding up there.
Yeah, she's wilding. She's bugging out. But
oh yeah, so back what I was saying. But they're not even Tampa and
how do you split time with a fan base?
They're not even close.
What do you do as a season ticket holder? I'd be pissed off as hell if I was a season ticket holder.
Nah, season tickets are half off.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can do it. I never saw that before. I had to reread it, and then I actually had to click and read the article twice to make sure what I was reading was legit.
It was legit. And then you also have talks of the MLB considering a MLB franchise in Las Vegas.
You have to think with the NFL moving there.
Yeah.
I just think leagues didn't want to be the first.
Yeah.
As far as the three major sports, which football, basketball, and baseball, I think once football said, nah, we're good, we're going to do it, the MLB and NHL, they're all going to, well, the
NHL already has a team.
They have their team out there.
Which their first season, they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals and lost in
That's crazy.
6 games.
I think hockey might be the only sport that could happen in, where an expansion team can be put together and make it that far.
They killed it.
No,
all season, best record, everything. It was insane.
I don't understand it. So when are you going to fix this?
What, are we stuck right here?
I'm just saying, is it old school TV? Do I have to smack it 3 times?
We got jokes. Right here. But, yeah, man, I think Vegas is a good spot.
Vegas is a great spot.
You know?
Problem is keeping the players indoors. You think Miami's fun?
I don't know about keeping them indoors. Keeping them focused is what you want to do. You keep them indoors.
Yeah, I guess you could.
It's just a casino.
Some of their establishments are indoor. I meant indoor, like in the house.
Yeah. I got you.
Bro. Sick right now.
We'll figure this out. But
I have no choice. So I'm about to start whipping out the phone.
We're having some technical difficulties with the ESPN live feed from the app itself.
We might have to switch this over to the phone. All right, so damn it.
At least.
Yo, you know what's crazy? I totally forgot. See, this is what happens when all these damn trades happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Lakers, Pelicans?
That's why I said.
It's the Hawks.
Yeah, that's why I said.
I know, I be forgetting.
You don't listen to me, man.
No, I listen. You just talk a lot.
Oh, wow. All right, that's what we're doing. We're being disrespectful. I hope you guys are catching this at home.
We're not being disrespectful. All right, they went Hunter.
Hunter, okay.
From Virginia. On a side note, I thought that Hunter made himself a whole bunch of money on that NCAA championship game because there was talks of Culver from Texas Tech going at 4 or in the top 4. And, Hunter, I think Hunter finished the game with like 28 points.
Right.
And there was a couple times they were matched up together. So I think Hunter outperforming him in such a way in the championship game, along with his workouts and his other interviews, I think went a long way in allowing him to be the 4th pick in the draft. I love the kid. I think he literally can guard 1 through 5. I know they say that about a lot of players, but this kid literally can guard 1 through 5, and he's a prototypical player in the fact that he's got a big wingspan. He's a great defender. If you watch Virginia play, you know that's their style of play. They like to grind it out.
Right.
And then they get a shot with 3 seconds left to go on their shot clock, and then they lock you up on the other end. So, Hunter, I love what the Hawks are doing. I know when they initially made that trade, Trae Young for Luka, I wasn't really sure if I liked it. Right. I thought that as good as Trae Young was in college, we've seen it before. Shooters like him going to the NBA struggle.
They don't pan out.
Especially at his size. Or slight of frame, rather, where you weren't sure if he was going to be able to acclimate himself to the NBA. And you saw that play out. The first half season, Luka looked like he was going to be the runaway rookie of the year.
Yeah.
I told you that was what was going to happen because the man's been playing professional basketball since he was 16 years old. There was no getting used to playing against men because he's been playing against men for 3 or 4 years now in the second best league in the world. I mean, the league he was playing in their worst team would kill any NCAA team you could find. Yeah. So there really wasn't going to be that much of an adjustment period for him. And you saw that. He came out of the gates running. Yeah. Trae Young, there is a big adjustment period from college to the NBA, especially playing the type of game that he plays. So you saw him struggle for the first half of the season, but then the second half of the season, he started to turn it up.
You adjust because the game is so much faster.
The game is faster.
Everybody's
faster. It's just in certain moves, whenever you move up in competition, you got to find what works. Like, I'm sure he did stuff in high school as far as Trae Young goes. He did stuff in high school that when he got to the college level was like, oh, all right, that's not going to work anymore. Like, that move got to go away. It's the same thing when you go from college to the NBA. The time you have to get your shot off when you're going against NBA talent is it's a huge difference between college. I mean, even high D1 teams, you usually have a weak link that you can put in that pick and roll and kind of work that matchup, and then it's game over. In the NBA, a lot of teams, even the worst teams you can think of, their worst player was a star in college. Right. So it's not like you're going to get that switch and just be able to do whatever you want against them. You're going to have to work for it.
Right. I mean, we're doing it big, man. The NBA draft. Covering it live here in the Bear Cave Studios for you guys. So thank you guys for tuning in and following along with us.
So at 5, Darius Garland goes to the Cleveland Cavaliers, which I think is an interesting pick because last year they did take Colin Sexton.
Yeah.
Oh, we finally got it back up. Cool. I'm sorry. I forgot Bleacher Report is leaking them early. So if you're watching the draft and didn't want to get that spoiled,
just kidding.
I apologize. That didn't happen. But in the event that they take him, this is a kid who was the number 1 point guard coming into last year's freshman class of college. Big things expected from him. And if you look at the 5 games, don't quote me, but I think it was 5 games that he played, he lit it up. Now, granted, a lot of these Division I programs, when they start off their season in non-conference play, their first couple of games tend to be I don't want to call the other programs pushovers, but just not at the level that you're going to see throughout the season.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a couple teams. The Maui Invitational does a great job of North Carolina and Duke meeting early on. You saw the matchup Gonzaga-Duke early on, and that was a great game, right? You saw Gonzaga beat a Duke team, which I don't think all year they got beat when all five when their starting five was healthy.
Right.
That was the one team that was able to do it. Granted, it was early on, and R.J. Barrett was still feeling his way out. Zion was still feeling his way out. But
Cam Reddish was still trying
to. We'll get to him later because I got some thoughts on Cam. But so the pick is in for the Cavs. You want to say who it is? Because I spoiled it. I messed it up. I'm sorry.
Oh, hey, there it is.
Listen.
Darius Garland.
Yeah, so he tore his meniscus. I don't think it's fair to label the guy as injury prone. I mean, you can't.
It happens, man.
Yeah, you can't help
Klay
it.
Thompson.
Yeah, you can't help it. It's not like he had, at least to my knowledge, a huge injury in. Sorry, I was just reading something. A huge injury in high school. So torn meniscus, it happens. Once it's 100%, you can normally pop back to being the player that you were.
Mm-hmm.
You just saw something on the screen that I don't know if I'm gonna call him Dame Lillard just yet, but they're comparing him. They say his.
No, I'm looking at his suit choice.
Ah, yes, he looks like a Jedi Master from Star Wars. Does he not?
Like he is gonna.
If it was a little darker, that's the Samuel Jackson robe.
We are one with the Force here.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, that's a little different for me here.
I think he's in a raincoat.
Yeah.
I think it's a raincoat. Yeah, man. So you're gonna see in his highlights here, dude. He's got a really smooth jump shot.
He can ball, man. But what do you think this does for Cleveland? Do they give up on?
I don't think they give up on him, only because, like you just saw there, he's a pure shooter, and with teams going smaller, it's not out of the realm of possibility to have him and Colin Sexton on the court at the same time. They actually, what Colin Sexton kind of struggles in is shot making, decision making, and those are things that Darius Garland excels at. And as you can see, he's got a wonderful looking jump shot. So I think they'll play well against each other. I mean,
do you move Sexton over to maybe a 2, like a smaller 2?
You could move him over to the 2. I mean, at this point, does it really matter? You know,
I think Cleveland's in the position where it's acquired talent mode right now.
Yeah,
they're just trying to stockpile as much as they can, throw it against the wall, and see what sticks.
And what you need to do is you need to take the best player available, especially in the draft, like the NBA draft, where players. And we've argued about this multiple times. I feel like in the NFL, I know best player available sounds nice, but there are players that have a bigger impact than other players.
Right.
But on the basketball court, where you only have 5 players that are able to participate at one time, obviously, and they both play offense and defense, and you can choose when they have the ball in their hand. It's not like a sport like football where the quarterback is going to have the ball in his hand on offense no matter what you do. So in basketball, I do think best player available, and then you just let the chips fall. You know, Colin Sexton had an up and down rookie year, struggled with his jump shot, but he has ridiculous athleticism, a very quick guard. So it'll be interesting to see how these two players play off of each other.
Yeah. So now the Suns, quotation marks, Suns are on the clock.
Who the hell gets this pick?
The Wolves.
The Wolves
got this pick. So they're in transition mode right now after getting rid of Tibbs.
Dude, they really need to put the logos up there, though. That's crazy.
They do, man. That's the one thing I don't understand with the NBA. And NFL, you got a trade. The logo flips. They're on the clock.
The hat flips.
Everything. It's not like, hey, here's your Phoenix Suns hat, but you're really getting picked up.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apologize if I screw up the team that picked the player. But I promise you, I will tell you the right things about the player. They just might not be on that team.
I will tell you the right team.
He will tell you the right team.
Joe will inform you.
Listen, we will work together on this.
Yep,
I will say, is this who's going? They're going? They're going? Okay.
Little Stockton Malone right here. Little 1-2.
All right. I mean,
big man, little man.
Wow, that's strong. Big man, little man. Okay.
I'm just saying, you got the handles with the rock. Just
and you can dunk like the mailman.
You give me Noah's rim, I'll dunk on it all day.
I think the only thing you dunk in is those Oreos you had on your kitchen table.
Hey, I'm saying, give me some Dunkaroos. I'll show you.
Wow, that's a throwback.
Yeah.
These young whippersnappers.
Yeah, they don't know about that. They don't know the Dunkaroo life.
So they're happy for each other, man. That's cool.
Yeah,
Especially, you guys go to college together, RJ Barrett and Zion.
You become brothers, man. After a certain time, living together, traveling together.
They find this is the first trade they've put up where like
Proposed.
Okay, great. But it's the first one that lets me know that the Suns, at least that I've caught, that the Suns are picking, but that this player is going to go to the Timberwolves.
But they still have not changed the logo.
Yeah, they haven't changed the logo, and more importantly, they haven't really showed the team. They're showing all the team needs of players. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of teams like the Suns, but the Suns aren't going to get the players, so their team needs really don't matter.
The big board on the back still has the Suns logo.
What I do find interesting is I know they were dying to get, and I'm talking about the Suns because they're still up here, even though this pick is going to the Wolves. But the Suns were in need of a point guard. They need somebody to pair with Devin Booker, with DeAndre Ayton. So a lot of people were thinking that they were going to stay at the 6 and hope Darius Garland falls to them. Now, depending on how the draft shakes out, they still might have been able to acquire assets and get the third best point guard in this draft in White from North Carolina. So that'll be interesting to see where and when White comes off the board.
I've heard that Chicago's
Speaking of
high on him. They're showing him on the screen right now.
My man, for all that hair that he carries on his head, he's a blur. He is quick from end to end.
Yes, he is. 100%. That boy can fly.
He can fly. And it's crazy because he really doesn't look like he's trying to run fast. He's just passing a whole bunch of people, and you're like, oh, wait, he's about that. You just see the hair bouncing up and down the court. I really enjoyed watching him play for North Carolina. He's one of the players that actually grew on me as the year went on.
Right. So who do we think it's going to be?
They keep showing him.
Who do the Timberwolves take?
The Wolves need a lot of players. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they went and got themselves that point guard. I love Jared Culver.
Now, do you think once we get through these top, say 10 picks, I feel like everything after that is kind of a project.
Listen,
not all of it, but a good bit is
NBA,
he's got this issue, he's got this issue.
The NBA draft is just like any other draft, an inexact science.
Right.
There's so many players. Like, for example, everyone's saying this is a three-headed monster draft, right? The three big boys. The three heavyweights, and then who else? Who knows what anyone else is going to turn into?
Right.
But the odds are some of these players selected out of the top 3 are going to become all-stars. They're going to become all NBA players. So this is where these GMs, these scouts, they get paid the big money to go out there and find these players. Jared
Culver is.
He looks hyped. He's getting drafted, and he will be going to the Minnesota Timberwolves, which I think is a great pickup. I watched him, on and off for the regular season. Once we got into the NCAA tournament, I tuned in. I think this guy is going to be a monster. I love watching him play. I know he didn't have the best championship game.
Right.
But I do like his game. I do think, listen, Texas Tech was the best defensive team in all of college basketball. If you watched the NCAA tournament, it was obvious. They would just shut teams down for like 6, 7, 8 minutes a clip.
Right.
And I'm talking about nothing, not even a free throw. And he was their best defender on that team. So at the very least, you're getting a wing who can lock up.
Sure.
He really can lock up. You saw it this year. He's not much of a three-point threat yet. I think he shot 120% for the tournament, so that's got to worry you a little. But he does have some offensive wiggle room there. Overall, they're showing from the field that he shot 46%, which isn't bad. And he's grabbing close to 6.4, 7 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
So I do like the player. And we'll see how he turns out in Minnesota. I think a whole bunch of these players, everyone puts the emphasis on the player that's getting drafted. They really, really need to look at the teams they go to and the developmental staffs that are there. All these kids have talent. A lot of these kids that are getting drafted have the tools to become amazing NBA players. The problem is they get put in situations, systems that, like, all due respect to Steph Curry, I don't know if Steph Curry, every Knicks fan says, oh man, we could have had Steph. To be honest with you, I don't think Steph is Steph if he is drafted to the Knicks. I don't. Before Steph, there wasn't really many coaches who were comfortable letting a player pull up from 30, 35 feet.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, they would have said it's a bad shot. Don't do that. Credit to Golden State for saying, wait a second, he's about that life.
Credit to Steve Kerr for giving them the freedom to be able to do that.
Well, Jackson was there first.
Jackson was there first.
Jackson was the architect, so they put that together. They got his pro comparison right now to Jimmy Butler. I really like that, especially Jimmy Butler is a two-way player who worked himself into an offensive juggernaut. When he was coming out of Marquette, he was looked at as kind of, I mean, I think it's a great comparison. He was looked at to exactly what Jarrett Culver is, which is a great defensive player with the ability to become a better offensive player down the road.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. It's a good pick for the Wolves. He going into this system, if he can develop the right way with the players such as Wiggins.
Who knows if Wiggins
will be there?
Karl-Anthony Towns, he's going to be there.
Towns will be there. You know, you've got pieces that you can blend him in with, and it can flourish. You've got the kid who came out of Duke 2 years ago.
Tice,
yep.
Little brother decided to stay another year at Duke. I think that was a smart decision.
Yeah, because he would have gotten lost in this draft had he tried to come out.
I don't even think it was a draft. I just think it was he really needs to go back to Duke. We're talking about Jones's little brother here. He was the glue to that team. He is probably the best on-ball point guard defender in college basketball now. But he really struggled shooting the ball. And in a league now where all the teams are looking for offense, you're really not going to have a point guard on the floor who can't stretch it.
Yeah.
He's just not a very good shooter at this point in time. I just think another year at Duke, another year of showing NBA staffs that he's capable of hitting that three-point shot is going to go a long way for him.
Yeah. Now they're showing the comparisons for the Bulls.
Los Bulls.
Los Toros. If we're going to go 100%.
No, but they do Spanglish on their jerseys, don't they?
They do.
They do Los Bulls.
Los Bulls are, what was the other one that made me laugh?
You talking about from Chicago?
No, the other Spanish jerseys that they try to do.
Los Suns?
Los Suns. I'm like, come on, man. You could do El Sol.
All right. So I know he's the best player available left on the board that they have up there, but I do think Kobe White is going to go here to the Bulls. They need a point guard. They have, Markkanen was a great pick for them. Kid out of Arizona.
Yeah.
He showed that he can really play. Zach LaVine, we all know him for his high-flying antics.
He developed last year.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I think he definitely is starting to develop his game. I mean, we all know that he can finish in transition. Coming out of UCLA, I went and saw him play live. I had no idea who the kid was, to be honest with you. I went to go see Duke's play UCLA only because at the time Jabari Parker was all that in the bag of chips. And then slow-mo Kyle Anderson was at UCLA putting up, near triple doubles, if not triple doubles. And he had a nice little run there with the Spurs. So there was a couple players I was going to see, and I remember just in the layup line seeing some dude take off from like the second, third hash mark like it was nothing. And I grabbed, the booklet they handed you. I was like, who the hell is this?
This guy?
I was like, oh, Zach LaVine, never heard of him. And
there is
Kobe White off the board.
They had been saying that they were very high on him. Chicago was very, very high on him.
And supposedly he was shooting up draft boards. I just think he's a lot bigger than I thought anyway. I think he's like 6'5".
Yeah. Now, what do you think of his physicality when he comes up to the rim, when he gets the contact?
I mean, he's not exactly the most athletic player in the world, but I do feel with his speed and his change of direction, like he's able. When you watch him in the especially on the fast break and he gets the ball, there's no slowdown when he gets the ball and he's going from right to left or doing any of his moves. So I think his speed is going to help him a lot, especially in transition. And for finishing at the rim, it's not like he's one of these barely 6 foot guards. You know, he is taller at, I think, like I said, I think he's listed at like 6'5". So I don't think finishing around the rim is going to be too much of a problem for him. And I really like the pick for the Bulls. They need a
point guard.
They need a point guard in the league right now. I don't know.
Man,
I probably wouldn't have put the hat on with the hair like that. But yeah, man, I think it was a good pick for them.
Yeah, it's a solid pickup.
And you'll see it now in the highlights, like end to end.
He can fly.
End to end, my man is a blur. He's not the most athletic finisher, but he goes right through defenses, gets to the rim, adept at using his right or left hand when finishing, which is nice.
As they show him carving up our Hurricanes.
Oh, I was looking down. Was that the Hurricanes?
Yeah,
I saw
the one before was the Hurricanes on our floor. So
listen, all right, the Hurricanes had one of the fastest guards on Chris Lights, man. I love watching that boy play. He's coming back for another year. That was a nice no-look pass.
Yeah, it was good, man. He's gonna be throwing it up to LaVine a lot.
Yeah, they're saying, okay, if he can be young Hibachi, they're comparing him right now to Gilbert Arenas. He had a 3-year stretch. I don't know if Kobe White's a good shooter.
Now, are they saying he's gonna pull a gun?
No,
Is that what?
Don't think that's where they're
going. We're not going that far?
No, I don't think
no,
that's
too far? Okay, my bad. I
mean, listen, for Chauncey Billups to compare him to Gilbert Arenas, because when Gilbert Arenas was in his prime, Hibachi was lighting it up.
He had that what, 3 to 4 year stretch where he lit up the league.
Yeah, he was on fire for about 4 years. He also had that
dropped. Like it was like
he also had that he had that video where he made a bet with Deshaun Stevenson. And Deshaun Stevenson was talking that good old smack talk. So Gilbert Arenas said, listen, if you think you're a better shooter than me, I'll shoot with one hand from the college. I think he shot from the college NBA three-point line.
Right.
You can use both your hands shooting from the NBA three-point line. And he smoked them. Now, granted, they do a whole bunch of warm-up drills where you don't touch the ball with your guide hand and you just use whatever hand you're shooting with. But he wasn't standing still. If you watch the video, I don't know if they still have it up on YouTube.
I'm sure you can
find it somewhere. He was running around and, he was catching it with one hand. And to beat an NBA player, Deshaun Stevenson was known as more of a D3 guy, so it wasn't like he was shooting against the center or shooting against the power forward on his team. That was one of the videos that I was like, man, this dude, that's not even right.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. So technically, it's Atlanta is on the clock, but it's really Houston.
You said you was going to be in charge of this. I don't know who the hell's getting this player.
This is the Pelicans are officially on the clock. It's from the Hawks. It's the Hawks pick, but they had traded it to New Orleans for. So this is one of those picks that got traded in the pre-draft madness that was going on earlier.
Yeah, I was driving up here, man, and they were just ripping them.
Yeah.
This pick is traded to this team and I'm like, okay.
It was popping off. I was waiting for you to get here. I was talking with our boy Ali Al from That's a Fact podcast. Little shout out. But yeah, it was the trades were popping.
Yeah,
they were coming in quick.
Trades were coming in fast and furious, man.
So it's $1:40 left, still going on. They're still on the clock officially. But while we're waiting for the pick to come in, Aaron Judge is back tomorrow.
That he is. Judge's Chambers back in action.
Judge's Chambers
Have
officially
you seen
back.
The lineup?
It's insane.
Have you seen the lineup?
Insane. Top to bottom.
Now with Edward Encarnacion.
Encarnacion.
I would get tripped up on the name. And I'm Spanish. That's sad.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say it.
I'm glad you did.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I know. It happens to the best of us.
They're going to be hitting some moonshots.
They're going to be striking out a lot, too.
A lot, yes.
But it's good when you have players like DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah.
That is, yeah. The other day,
Torres.
yes. These are players that are going to get on base.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun to watch. What time's the game tonight against the Astros?
8 o'clock. I believe it's 8. 7 or 8 tonight against the struggling Astros, might I add.
Yeah, but that's a team that they're going to see at the end of the postseason. They're definitely going to pop up and have to play them at some point.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting season to play out with the Rays. I don't know if we call them Tampa or Montreal. Is that too soon yet?
Yeah, that's another thing. Do they switch jerseys?
Are you the same team?
Talk about being a sellout.
Do you wear like a half and half?
Nah, that's kind of confusing.
Like, are you the Expos if you're up in Montreal, and then when you
No, but
come
I'm
back
just saying,
down
it's
to
like not
Tampa?
even so much like you could keep the Rays, but what do you put before that?
Yeah, like Montreal or
If they do that, I will never watch them play.
Monterey. I don't know.
Monterey sounds kind of dope. I'll do Monterey.
I mean, a little mix there. Zion, I'm pretty sure he's going to get on a private jet shortly and be on his way to New Orleans, down to Bourbon Street.
No. He will not be going to Bourbon.
They're showing the proposed trade between the Hawks and the Pelicans right now. So just to recap, the draft rights to DeAndre Hunter with the 4th pick go to the Hawks. They also get the 2019 second-round pick, number 57 overall, a future second-round pick, and Solomon Hill. The Pelicans receive the 8th selection in the 2019 draft, the 17th, and they took it off the screen, but I will recap it for you as the pick comes in. So just a recap on that trade.
All right, so Jackson Hayes goes.
Okay, Jackson Hayes.
Yo, is that a Simpsons chain?
Yes, a Sideshow Bob.
Wow.
Nice.
All right.
Very dope.
So they're getting a rim protector.
Yep.
That's what they're getting in Hayes. Big man's gonna go down there, hold the paint down.
His dad played 12 seasons in the NFL.
Not bad. You see, athletes follow athletes just like money follows money. A lot of these people are related to someone. Either their mom or their dad or their uncle. Somebody went professional.
Yeah.
So this was one of the kids, as far as big men go, that was high on everybody's draft board. So it's no surprise to see him go within the top 10. Like I said before, he's more of the traditional big man, stay in the paint. I mean, you can see from his field goal percentage, he shot 73% from the field.
He does kind of bulk up a little bit. He's got a very thin frame. I know that's the way the NBA big men are now, but I feel like he's got to bulk up a little bit.
Is Woj dropping a Woj bomb? Nah, I think they're just talking about
he's just recapping the trade there. But yeah, the dude is the right freak athlete. Extremely long, lengthwise.
Yeah, he is. He's a good finisher, I think.
Yeah.
So now him and Zion get paired.
Yeah.
So
him, Zion, Brandon Ingram.
They're gonna have the ability while everybody's playing small ball.
They're gonna run.
Not even so much run. They're gonna have players with length. Like you have a Brandon Ingram, you have Jackson Hayes, and then you have Zion out there all together. That's a pretty big lineup that you could put there. See there, another Tyson Chandler. If he
that was my dude, man. When he came to the Knicks,
was he?
That was my dude. I like that.
So you're gonna get hyped right now for these Raymond Felton and Tyson Chandler alley oops.
Hey, man.
That's another.
I was always a Tyson Chandler.
Listen, shout out to Raymond Felton. I don't know how the hell he's managed to carve out such a long career.
I would have figured he would have been in the Big Three tournament.
The dude is still chugging
away. He's still doing his thing.
Over in Oklahoma City.
We do still have on the board dropping further than a lot of people had projected. Cam Reddish is still on the board. A lot of people were saying, I'm not saying that he should be off the board, but a lot of people were saying he was going to be in that top, 5 to 7 range.
So,
and we're at pick 9, and he's still sitting.
Cam Reddish, if he would have been able to come straight out of high school, would have been a top 5 pick. Right. If you look at him on paper, he's everything you're looking for in a wing. He's 6'8", got the length. he's got all of the tools.
Right.
But his freshman year at Duke really bothered me. It bothered me because I get it that he had to share the spotlight with R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson, but there's a couple things. He is known, quote unquote, to be a very good jump shooter. Yes, he hit a buzzer beater to beat Florida State, which was a great open 3-point shot. But on a team where R.J. Barrett is demanding a lot of attention, where Zion Williams is getting double and triple teams sometimes, you would think as a jump shooter that would provide you with a great opportunity to get a whole bunch of open looks where you might not average, the 20 points a game that he could have averaged on another team. But you have to think he's going to shoot a good percentage from 3-point range because a lot of them are going to be uncontested.
Right.
He didn't. He kind of struggled as far as putting the ball in the basket. And then there was those games where Zion Williamson was out, and you had R.J. Barrett step up to the plate, but you really didn't see Cam Reddish go off the way I think he should have. Now, do I still think he has the opportunity to become a really good player in the NBA? Yes, obviously. But there already is questions about his motor, and I don't know if in a top 10 pick I'm going to draft somebody whose motor is questionable.
It's questionable. It's true, man.
He was on ESPN today saying, and credit to him for being, Rui Hachimura goes to the Wizards.
Okay.
They're keeping this pick.
Yeah, no, they're not trading this kid.
Just making sure. So, yeah, man, we'll talk about Rui Hachimura. I think his story is interesting, man. I mean, he grew up, like they're showing, he grew up in Japan, and I think he got a lot of backlash growing up in Japan because he doesn't look
like your typical Japanese person. Yeah.
Right? So when I was reading up on him, I heard that there was a big backlash from the community over there and not really showing him the love and support. Obviously, now he's in the NBA, and he's a top 10 pick, so we'll see how that narrative starts to flip. But the dude's a beast.
I think he was a monster.
Yeah, I really do like Hachimura. I like his game. He's got a really good mid-range jump shot. Can extend it out to 3-point range.
Peep the camera guy back there up on his, I don't know if that's his grandfather or somebody in his family. He's legit this far away with the giant lens right up in his face. It's like, maybe some personal space, bro.
Nah, so first round pick in NBA history. That's dope. Yeah. That's kind of cool to have on your resume. And you're going to see it here, man. He's got a great post-up game.
Yeah, very physical.
Yeah, he is a physical player, doesn't mind the contact. The Duke highlights there is just shown was from the Maui Invitational. You see him taking Zion Williams to the paint and pulling up for a nice 15, 17-foot jump shot. That's a really athletic.
Yeah. I mean, he can finish around the rim as well.
I like Chauncey Billups comparisons. He doesn't really.
He's pretty spot on here.
All right.
All right. Maybe this one was a stretch.
I'm not going to call him Kawhi Leonard, but then again, coming out of San Diego State, Kawhi Leonard wasn't Kawhi Leonard.
Sure.
If you watch his highlights at San Diego State, I mean, we knew he was going to be a great defender, and you were hoping he could develop his offensive game. No one thought Kawhi Leonard was going to turn into the assassin that he turned into.
NBA Finals MVP.
Nobody saw that coming. But Chauncey Billups knows more basketball than me and you combined. So
they're showing the coverage from Japan right now of the NBA draft and the coverage that he's getting from the Japanese media.
Listen, I give him credit too because I'm petty as hell. Mm-hmm. So if my whole country was like, nah, bro, you don't look like us, we're good. I'm not repping y'all.
And now y'all want to
I'm not with it. I'm not repping you guys. Once I do make it, he's got the little pin, shout out to his place of origin. But I'd be super petty. That pin would not be on my jacket at all.
You're gonna go straight petty on everybody.
Without a doubt. I'll be like, I'm sorry, what? No.
Where am I from?
Take that graphic off. Yeah. I'm the first player drafted in my family in the first round. That's all anyone needs to know.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big thing, man. You're coming from a nation that's not really known for ball players.
Yeah, I mean, they're not. So
they're not. Mostly baseball.
Yeah,
they have soccer as well.
Yeah, they have a couple baseball players that come over.
Yeah. So he will get that extra treatment from the Japanese media.
the same way that we've seen as Yankee fans when, say, Tanaka pitches or Matsui was playing.
I do find it. You're not going to find it with him because there's probably, no offense, but there's probably not going to be a Japanese player coming out in the first round top 10 next year. But, I mean, I wonder if it's the same thing because I heard the reason why, what's the guy, Ohtani, that went to the Angels?
Yeah.
The reason why Ohtani didn't want to come to the Yankees, if I remember correctly, one of the reasons was that he didn't want to be on the same team as Tanaka and kind of share that spotlight.
Yeah.
I wonder if that transitions to like other sports, like if Rui Hachimura, is playing well, and then by some miracle, there's another player that could get drafted to them, and when he goes to the organization, be like, listen,
I don't want
to play with him. I want to be, the only player. I just found it when I heard that I was like I would be happy. You know what I'm saying? If I got drafted.
And at that point, you're not the main focus anymore.
Yeah.
You kind of just play ball and let your game speak for it.
And especially in a sport like baseball, in a position like pitching, where it's not like you guys are going to be playing on the same day.
Right.
Like when Tanaka was pitching, bro. I mean, he probably would have been hitting because he's shown that he can do both. But on days that he was pitching, Tanaka wasn't going to be in the game. So I just found it interesting.
And it also tells you a lot about the player himself.
Yeah, I think it kind of comes off. To me, it comes off as selfish. But here's the thing: I don't want to judge somebody that I don't know the traditions and their culture. You know what I'm saying? They were born and with different, like I said, different traditions, different upbringing.
Morals.
So I don't know the reason behind it. I can only go off of what I would feel personally, and that might not be what this guy feels. So I can't really fault him too much on that.
Yeah, that's a whole different subject and aspect of what to take into consideration and what the deal is with that. But that's something maybe we can bring up on the podcast and kind of dissect it a little more if we want.
So there's a couple players left, since the picks are in, and now we're going back and forth on the best bill. There's a couple players left. I know what Zion's going to be.
Right.
Injuries aside. I have a pretty good idea of what the top three are going to be.
Right.
And there's a couple players in between. I think there are a couple of players left on the board that can make a huge impact on teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel if there wasn't concerns, like you said, once you get all out of like the top three in a draft like this, a lot of players have concerns, whether it be personality, whether it be injury related. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of players left on the board right now that I think have the chance to be better than some of the top 5 picks in this draft. You look at a player like Bol, who only played, I think it was 9 games.
Right.
But he's 7'2". Shot over 50. I know it wasn't a huge sample size. Shot over 50% from 3. Can handle the ball really well for a player his size. Now, that being said, I probably wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
Because when big men get foot injuries, it kind of skeeves me out.
No, look at his pops.
Yeah, but the talent is there. Now, see, this bothers me, right? Mm-hmm. So this trade happened a year ago.
Right.
This trade happened a year ago. So now that they have the Hawks, they have the Hawks on, right? But when the trade happened, everybody killed them for it.
Yeah.
They said, "How could you trade, Luka for Young?"
Yeah.
That people are so quick to kill these trades when you got to let these players develop. Luka's one hell of a player. I guess Cam Reddish his slide finally stops. I love what Atlanta's been doing. I think Trae Young, is going to play just like he played the second half of the season for the remainder of his career. I really think he's got an extremely quick trigger, very good jump shooter, and he's only going to get better.
The draft comparison to the 2007 Florida Gators with Noah, Corey Brewer, and Al Horford.
The only thing I'll say to that, though, is that Florida team was a vet team.
It was.
Those were.
Them boys came to play every night.
Those were all, that Florida, Ohio State. That whole game when you had, I think Greg Oden was in that game.
Yeah. With like his half broken hand.
Yeah, that was a really good college matchup there. So Cam Reddish, like we said, has all the tools to become an all-star player. 6'8". I think he's gonna be a good fit in Atlanta because you're gonna need shooters to space the floor for what Trae Young can do.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the name of the game. If he comes up and he shoots the way he's been shooting now and he's able to space the floor, and you got, Trae Young, Cam Reddish, John Collins, you've got pieces there. And it'll help. Really, this is what is going to make or break that trade the Hawks did for Luka. Right?
If what Cam Reddish does, yeah.
Because we see that Trae Young and Luka, they're kind of, to me, they're not the same player as far as game type, but they have the same impact. Right. They're both looked as young rising stars. So they kind of cross each other off, if you will.
Chauncey's comparison here.
Paul George. And I see it. I see a lot of Paul George in what Cam Reddish does. The only problem is you didn't have a question of Paul George's motor coming out of Fresno State. The only thing that they knocked Paul George on was that he was coming out of Fresno State. And you really don't see too many top-flight players come out. So...
Now, with this, do you think it helps Cam Reddish that he's not going to a team to be the star? So it takes a little bit of that pressure off of him, and where he can kind of do his own thing, get his shots up and stuff like that.
But at the end of the day, and they just showed, I think the Hawks had a tremendous draft. They got DeAndre Hunter, who's a go-getter on the defensive end and has a lot of weaponry on offense. Now you pair him. I love their starting five as a young team.
Right.
I don't, like I said, with the Collins, with the Young, with now the Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter. You've got a lot of young talent there. So we'll see how it culminates. As far as they're kids, you know what I'm saying?
They got to develop. They're 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, they're young kids. At the end of the day, I'm not going to kill him like he came on SportsCenter and was like, I really didn't eat good my freshman year. You know what? At 18 years old, a B.O.B., ball on a budget, you can't afford, your own cook.
Yeah. But that top 10 money, you're going to be able to afford it.
Yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully he stays in the gym. I think Trae Young will be him, and they'll connect, and they'll be able to form a bond there. So I'm hoping that works out for him because I really do like the tools that he brings to the basketball court as far as he's able to spread the court. He's got really good anticipation on the defensive end. You see him get into the lanes a lot. And he can finish around the basket. He's not uber athletic, but he's athletic enough to put somebody in the rim.
So now we have to wait for, I believe it's the 30th, right? For the official league year to begin, for all these trades to go through.
Well, and then there's some weird thing where, the Davis trade is going to be put in on the 6th because it saves them money on the cap. If it does go through on the 6th, it's, I think, rumored to be, then they have enough money for a cap, for a third max player. If it's before, they have to. And another thing I found out about the Lakers today that I thought was pretty interesting, with everyone going analytics and all these teams having capologists, someone there that their whole job is to say, listen, what do you want done? I'm the master of the cap. I know how to fit players.
This is how we can get you under and over.
They don't have that in the Lakers brass.
This is why the Lakers are in the position they're in. 100%. This is why they're not fulfilling their potential.
Yeah, so we'll see. At the end of the day, they have LeBron, they have AD. They find a way to wiggle in another max player, they're going to be fine. Everyone's going to be laughing at this. There's a couple players. I know they have best available up here. There's a couple players that I really like, and if they get their, they get their head on straight and they're able to put it all together, I think can really outplay. One of them is Romeo Langford. I love him. Coming out of high school, I was a big fan of his. I watched him in the Jordan Classic, and I thought he had an up and down season at Indiana, but I think he has a chance to really. He would have been a lottery pick if he could have came out of high school. I think he has a chance to get drafted and really outplay where he gets drafted. And then number 9, they just showed him on the screen, Kevin Porter Jr. If you just look at him from his workouts and some of his abilities, he might have. I know Zion's the best athlete, but just pure basketball talent, Kevin Porter would be the most talented player in the draft. There's nothing he can't do on a basketball court, but there's a lot of character issues that he had at USC. Cameron Johnson. Okay, small forward. That's maybe one of the first. I know.
Now he goes to Phoenix.
Yeah, proposed trade to Phoenix.
Yeah.
So now they're helping me out a little. They're in the
Little bit,
italics and where they're going. Another smooth player who can really shoot the ball. I mean, you see it there. He shot 46% from 3-point range. That's a little
16 points a game.
That's a little higher than I thought that I thought he was gonna go. But that's the name of the game, man. Is being able to put the ball in the bucket and spread the court around. I don't have too much faith in Phoenix as an organization. I feel like a lot of the moves they made have been skeptical. My man's tired already.
No, I'm just saying, like, when was the last time Phoenix did really well?
I'll tell you. When they had Steve Nash, Shawn Marion, Amari Stoudemire, Quentin Richardson, Leandro Barbosa. When they messed that team up, by the way, is when they gave Quentin Richardson that money. No. Who the hell? No, I'm sorry. They gave Quentin Richardson the money and let Joe Johnson go.
Yeah.
That's what screwed that Suns team up. And they kept running up against the Lakers.
And then they also, that Western Conference Finals, where they took 2 steps off the bench.
Yes.
And they got suspended.
Suspended.
Yeah.
You get a suspension.
And then before that, the last time the Suns were good were the Charles Barkley.
I got nothing. I seen it on NBA TV, when they do the flashback games.
Yeah. And those were when they went up against, Michael and the Bulls back then.
Some guy, Michael Jordan, might hurt him.
Yeah. Speaking of Michael.
We're not going to get into
No. I'm just going to say.
With the Hollands?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
What did you think of that? That, for me, I thought Hollins was talking out of his ass.
He might very well feel that way. That doesn't mean I have to agree with him. I think for him to say that Michael Jordan could not fill LeBron James's shoes, I think is kind of crazy.
It's crazy. And then you're telling Shaq, who played against Michael,
who played with LeBron too, by the way,
and with LeBron, who has inside information on this.
Yeah.
And he told you're crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, this might not be a popular opinion. I hate when people try to put Kobe in the mix with LeBron. I think just from a player, like if I'm starting from scratch, I'm taking LeBron over Kobe every day of the week, twice on Sunday.
But they are 3 of the best.
Oh, without a doubt.
Time.
Without a doubt. But I do think for him to say that Michael Jordan had no chance of filling his shoes, I think that's kind of crazy. Why'd you back out? The froze?
The froze.
Oh, man. That's what happens when you come up to the sticks where this guy lives, man. You got no service. My phone, no service. TV, no service.
It's not the TV, man.
I'm surprised we can even use YouTube up here. I really am.
It's the ESPN app.
Well, there's probably a lot of people watching.
Yeah. They're having some difficulties with the stream.
And you're about to pick. Come on.
No one really cares about that pick.
Well, I care about that pick, Fred.
Oh, here we go. We're back. The Hornets are on the clock right now. When was the last time, like, speaking of teams that haven't been good in a very long time, when was the last time the Hornets were good? That they had a team that was worth notoriety? Was that the Chris Paul era down there?
Chris Paul, Tyson Chandler era. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. They did have a player in between that I was a big fan of watching. I love watching Gerald Wallace play.
Gerald Wallace, yeah.
Crash. I mean, I know most kids probably have no idea who the hell that is. But if you want to see a player that just didn't care about life, dove for every loose ball, put people in the rim, was just super athlete and fun to watch, Gerald Wallace was that dude.
I remember the days of my boy, LJ.
Oh, but now you
grandma mom, baby.
You're taking it way back.
That was my dude.
So they have the best available on the board here. We're getting a lot of big men as far as, so if you're looking for a guard, they're not really high up on the best available. He's got Nazir Little, who
small forward, North Carolina.
I'll be honest, he probably would have been gone already if he would have played better his freshman year at North Carolina. Right. He had a lot of hype going in. I know it was only one play, but I did see him. What I liked about him was his motor and his tenacity. He was playing in the Georgia Brand Classic, and he was going up against Zion. And a lot of these kids, this is their first. Well, not really now because everyone plays a national schedule, but they know a lot of eyes are on that game. They don't want to be that guy that gets embarrassed.
Yeah.
So they play these all-star games similar to how the NBA plays these all-star games. Not a lot of defense, let the people show out. But when he was put on Zion, he really tried to lock up. And there was a couple plays where he made Zion's life, a little bit miserable.
Yeah. He wasn't giving him easy shots.
Yeah, exactly. So when I saw that, I said, all right, cool, I'm keeping an eye on him. Now, he went to North Carolina, didn't really get a whole bunch of minutes. So you combine that with the fact that he really didn't put up numbers, obviously, because he wasn't playing as much. And I think that's the reason why he slides a little. But he's another one of those rangy, athletic defenders that you hope to develop.
Speaking of
P.J. Washington.
P.J. Washington, power forward out of Kentucky.
He was a very productive player this past year for Kentucky.
I feel Kentucky didn't get a lot of spotlight this year.
They did.
That they normally do.
They didn't, and that's because Duke went ahead and put together a monster. Usually it's Calipari out there with 5 of the best freshmen you could ask for. I do like P.J. Washington's game. I think as far as just from an NBA ready perspective, I think he's one of the more NBA ready players that are coming out of this draft. He's a little bit older.
Coached by Penny Hardaway in 3 years of his AAU.
That's pretty dope. Yeah, man. So I do like his game. I like the pick. It'll be interesting. A lot of what the Hornets can do or will do is based on if they're able to get Kemba Walker back in the fold.
Right.
If they're able to keep Kemba. I know it's hard, but there's not a lot of players that are flocking to go play with the Hornets. So if you're the Hornets, you have to hit on your picks. I know they took Malik Monk a couple years ago, and he's had some games where he looks, instant offense. He hasn't been that consistent for them. But I do like this pick. I think, like I said, from an NBA ready standpoint, it's one of the safer picks in the draft. He's going to come in and be productive for you right away.
And he's coming out of a system where, a lot of these guys have transitioned to the pros and have done very well.
Yeah, obviously, you go to Kentucky, you're going to turn heads. Kentucky's churning out NBA players at this point. They have another one, Hero, that's going to go.
Who's going to go soon?
He's going to go in the first round as well, so it'll be interesting to
now,
see.
Your boys are on the clock.
Yes, they are.
Miami is officially on the clock.
We're on the clock.
What do you feel Miami needs to do here?
Let's be honest. My Miami Heat haven't been good for a little while. I do like. I'll give them this, though. For second-round draft picks, they do have a way of getting the best out of their players. Josh Richardson, when they got him out of Tennessee, he's developed into quite a player. I know he's not on the team anymore, but Tyler Johnson, the point guard out of Fresno State, little brother was playing at Cincinnati. I think he transferred out. They look like twins. It's freaky how much they look like, kind of like the Jones brothers.
Jones brothers.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, the Heat have a lot of holes. There's really not a position where they draft where you're going to be like, oh, man, that position – is stacked. They have Goran Dragic at point guard. He is getting a little bit older. You don't know. I know there's probably some contending teams calling to see if they can maybe finagle him out of it. I do like I said, I do like a lot of their young talent. I think Justice Winslow, they finally figured out how to use him. Justice Winslow at the point guard position, I think is what he's going to. He's a great facilitator. Coming out of Duke, there was that comparison to James Harden coming out of Duke.
Can he stay healthy, though?
I think he can stay healthy. He's becoming a little bit better as far as hitting the perimeter jump shot. That's always been his thing. He's always been good facilitating, setting it up, and good in transition. The jump shot has been kind of a – I'm just reading something real quick. Sorry. Been kind of a struggle for him. I do like Bam Adebayo. I think once the Hassan Whiteside saga is over with, and they ship him out, I do think he does get traded. He's going to opt in because nobody's going to pay him the money he's making. Yeah. But I do think he's going to pound his chest, jump on the table, and say, get me out of here. I think once he does that, Bam Adebayo is going to be awesome as a starting center. So, yeah, they could go any which way here. At this point, do you look at a player like Bol and say, listen, his talent outweighs the injury concerns? It's Nasir Little's another one where he's got a high motor, he's got a lot to work with. But do you need another tweener in there? I want to shoot. Listen, I love – there's certain players you watch play and you see all the talent. I would love Kevin Porter Jr. here. I know there's a lot of character concerns, but there's no health concerns with him.
Yeah.
And the kid can do everything on a basketball court. It's
Is Miami a city where a guy with some character
no,
issues
but I think Eric Spoelstra and Pat
and Pat
Riley being there,
they can work the best out of
we
somebody.
need guard. We need a guard.
Mhm.
I could see them going for Romeo Langford. I think they need a guard. You never know, especially with players. Like I said, best available. Most of them are big men right now. But I wouldn't be surprised Dwayne Wade's gone. He still was getting buckets last year.
Yeah, he was.
Shout out Flash. He was still getting buckets last year. We'll see what happens, man. I would love for them to get Romeo Langford or maybe even Kevin Porter and get us some offensive weaponry there because we need it. They play good defense. They have the problem with Miami is they have a lot of good players, no great players.
Right.
So they're not bad enough to be like in the top 5 of the draft, not good enough to really make any noise in the playoffs. So they're kind of on that treadmill and they just running.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Now, I will shout out Miami for having the dopest jerseys.
Those Miami Vice jerseys?
The hot pink ones.
Clean.
The hot pink.
Clean.
Miami
Even
Vice.
the floor, too. The floor is nice when they...
Official.
And
100%. I would go and cop that Flash. Hot pink.
I might have to. Listen.
Or even a throwback, give me an Alonzo Mourning. I'll do that.
With how many bad bets you make with me, I might just have to get a nice little Miami Vice pink jersey. I might really throw it back. Like, shout out to, I love, obviously, Wade. Maybe I'll go like Eddie Jones. I used to like playing with him in NBA Live before 2K took over that.
Now, I don't know if you saw it pre-draft, but Manute Bol, Bol, the son of Manute Bol.
Yeah.
You
talking about Venom?
Yes, his suit.
Yeah.
On the red carpet.
He
looked like he stole Venom's outfit.
Yeah, I wasn't really feeling the suit, but if we draft him, I'll be feeling the suit.
Yeah.
I mean,
here we go. The pick is in.
Okay, because it said 1 second. Yeah. I guess we were just trying to drown it out here.
Unless they're trading out, I don't know.
Look, they're gonna do all the shout outs to Dwayne Wade. I'm gonna love and miss him. Not sure how I feel about the braids just yet. Because I was so used to him having short hair that when he did the braids, I was like, was this like a midlife crisis? Yeah. Even though you're not really that old. I don't know. Yeah, see, the braids threw me off.
It was a good look, though. I'll give it to him. He rocked it pretty well.
It's Wade County for a reason.
Yeah.
My man could do whatever he wants with his hair. One birthday, this is early on in his career, he was actually out to dinner at one of the big, nice Miami restaurants that they have there on the water. And Ferrari craned in a birthday present for him in the parking lot. Craned in.
Must be nice.
Craned in. Because, with a car like that, you obviously can't put it on a normal tow truck. It's too low. You'll rip everything apart. So, yeah, they craned it in and put it in this parking spot for him. So when he walked out, that was their little birthday gift to him.
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
I'd like to walk out of a restaurant and that'd be a good.
I'd like to walk out of a restaurant and there'd be a hoopty waiting for me. I'd be happy with a Schwinn bike, let alone a Ferrari.
Give me a mongoose, man.
Yeah, I had a mongoose growing
with
up.
some nice pegs.
New York don't know nothing about that, bro. You guys didn't grow up in the outdoors. I went rollerblading not too long ago in New York, right by your house, and New Yorkers just don't learn how to do things outside.
Well, now
all the parents look like Bambi out there trying to walk. They was all like, and their poor kids was flying.
But now the New Yorkers are like back in the day. At least the crew that I rolled with, we were on skateboards, mountain bikes, dirt bikes. The scooters when they got popular, those Razors.
Yeah, my mom was crazy enough to get me one of those motorized ones when they came out.
Ooh, I always wanted one of those.
Yeah, dude.
All right, pick is in. Heat select. Let's see.
Okay, so they went Tyler Hero?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was the other Kentucky guard that we were talking about. It's funny because they were actually mocking him like when the first couple mock drafts were coming out. They were actually mocking Hero to Miami really early on. We'll see, man. Like I said, I had a couple man crushes on a couple other guards there, but hopefully he is a good shooter, and we do need as much good shooting as we can on the team. So we'll see how it works out.
I mean, there were no point guards left to go out and get. Right?
Nah. And my favorite point guard, you could probably get him in the second round, is Carson Edwards from. Have you seen him play?
Yes.
Walking bucket. Might only be 5'9", 5'10". Can't stop him.
Yeah. All over the place.
Cannot stop him.
This guy kind of looks like a smaller version of Porzingis, looks wise.
I was thinking more Tyler Decker from Wisconsin.
I could see Tyler Decker as well.
Yeah, from Wisconsin. That's right. He's already got the Miami look going.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, that's a very Miami-ish suit.
With the high pants, that's the in thing right now.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
I got my boy has his formal this week, and that's what he's going for.
He's going for the high.
He's going with the that little high ankle.
I'll tell you what, hand-me-downs would last way longer.
Yeah.
If that was the look when we were growing up.
We had to get them altered.
Yeah, we could have had a couple more years. The Heat actually picked up a second-round pick in this draft too, so not that I think they're gonna get star with it, but hey, more players, more the merrier.
We're gonna bring you guys the whole first round. I don't know if we're gonna go full out into the second, but we will bring you guys.
Yeah, we'll probably do the whole first round. I don't know, in the second round we might just kick it, watch the second round.
Yeah. But we are waiting for the next pick to come in. All right. Touching on other sports in the meantime while we wait for the next picks to come through. NFL. Any news coming through that's pulling your attention for the season?
I mean, there's so many different ways to go, right? Like, I feel like there was a lot of star players that changed teams.
Mm-hmm. There's still a lot of star players that aren't on teams yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of players out there that are waiting to sign, waiting for that right moment. I mean, just talking from the first player that comes to my mind is the player that used to be on our team was Jay Ajayi. I know he's coming off a major knee injury again, but
and Ndamukong Suh is still out there.
No. He signed by the Bucks.
Oh, he did sign with the Bucks. I'm sorry. After
they let Gerald McCoy go.
Right after he went to Carolina. That was kind of like bang bang.
Yeah, so they kind of released him and then picked up Ndamukong Suh to kind of replace his production. Man, I hope he pans out, but I was really hoping they went Kevin Porter there. The dude's he's a sniper though. He can shoot the ball.
Yeah. So now the Celtics are on the clock. Celtics, depending on what happens in free agency this year, they're going to have a lot of open spots that need to be filled.
6-0, just to let you know. But here's my problem, and we're going to address it now. All these fans that come out of the woodwork and they're happy that their team has acquired all these first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, these picks mean diddly squat. If I'm making a trade, I'm simply looking at it from the aspect of who's getting the best player at that current time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll use the Pelicans as a perfect example. Everyone's saying, oh, my God. And we'll look at it right here. One of the trades that the Celtics made.
Yeah.
Right? So when everyone killed the Celtics for making this trade, right? They traded. They let Markelle Fultz go to the 76ers. They ended up getting Jason Tatum. That worked out. Everyone called him a genius.
Mm-hmm.
But then they acquired all these other picks, and they really haven't done much with them. They were saying that the Celtics were going to be a dynasty. That's what people were saying. Mm-hmm. Once they got Kyrie Irving, they had Jaylen Brown, they had Jason Tatum, they had Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
Al Horford. A lot of times these teams, they make trades and everyone wants to grade them as soon as they're made. Like New Orleans Pelicans, everyone's saying they got a hole for Anthony Davis. I know Anthony Davis is a top 5 player in the NBA when he's playing and healthy. That's a fact. There's no way to argue that.
Right.
We still don't know what Lonzo Ball's going to be. We still don't know what Brandon Ingram's going to be. Zion wasn't part of the trade, so you can take him out of this. So you have to see what these players become after the the players are drafted.
Right.
You can't sit here and say that one team won it. For me, if all the people killing the Lakers for giving up a lot to get AD, LeBron only has about, I want to say 3 years of elite basketball left in him. Could I be wrong? Sure. But Father Time is undefeated.
They're taking a long time here. Oh, as I say that, the pick is in. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. So I feel like the Lakers had to make this trade. The young rookies are going to do nothing for LeBron right now.
Outside, he needs
established star players. They're trying to get a championship. So I think that's what they're going to be able to do with Anthony Davis, as long as they can get one more person in the fold. I don't even necessarily think they need one more super max contract star to come. I think if they use that money smart and they're able to bring players over, like maybe, I know Danny Green had that bad turnover in the finals, but players like a Danny Green or a JJ Redick to supplement that.
You bring in that Pat Beverly.
Pat Beverly's a dog.
I think you bring in a Pat Beverly there would be big time.
I know. I got to see him a little early on when he was actually on Miami. Mm-hmm. I was kind of sad when they let him go because you could see it early on. He locked up and he don't care. Yeah, he don't care where you are or who you are, rather.
Yeah. But I think here for the Celtics, I don't want to say they're in rebuild mode because they're not, because they still got solid guys. But you had Scary Terry in the playoffs the year before doing his thing.
And Terry Rozier can ball, man. He can ball.
Then you just kind of let him fall off. But here the pick is in Romeo Langford.
Like I told you, I know he wasn't the best available quote-unquote player, but Romeo Langford was one of the players I really liked. And the Celtics went and they got him. You have to think they're looking to replace, once Kyrie leaves, they're going to need some help on the wings. We'll see if, like you said, Terry Rozier can pick up some slack. I like it. I think Romeo Langford's going to be a really good player. I think he's going to be one of those players that you look at a couple years down the road and you kind of scratch your head as to how he was still there available at the 14th pick.
Right. Still, it seems to be a trend with some of these players. Very skinny frames, very Kevin Durant-esque frames on a lot of these guys. You're not seeing, except for Zion, really, like these thick, solid frames.
Well, you look at a lot of the NBA players now, like your top 5 players in the league outside of a LeBron, who's really built. Yeah. You know, I think a lot of these players are focusing on more like flexibility.
Right.
Stuff to prolong their career. I mean, you even saw it with LeBron. LeBron shed he shed about like 15 pounds just so that, you know, basketball is a sport where they take a beating. Your joints take a beating jumping up and down, up and down.
Night in and night out.
Yeah, night in and night out. So it's hard for some of these players to carry any extra weight. They have to be, you know, a slim, cut down version of what they otherwise might be.
It's just, for me, growing up, the build of a basketball player was almost the size of a linebacker.
Yeah, you're not going to see that too many
you know, with guys like Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley, Larry Johnson, you know, Alonzo Mourning. These guys were huge. You're not seeing that a lot now. You're seeing a lot of slimmer, more athletic. Like you were saying, it's easier on the joints. It's less wear and tear because you're not carrying around that much weight.
Yeah, exactly, man.
We still got a lot of guys left on the board. A lot of good players. Kevin Porter Jr. is still out there. Bol Bol is still up there. Keldon Johnson from Kentucky is still out there. You know, you got a lot of big guys still available. Pistons are on the clock. Then it's Orlando and Brooklyn. A little kind of looking ahead here. Brooklyn, what do they do? They have a lot of. There's a talk of Kyrie. There's a talk of D'Angelo Russell. What do they do with him if they don't get Kyrie?
If I'm D'Angelo Russell, I don't know. The Nets got to be careful, right? Because D'Angelo Russell balled out last year.
They're playing with fire here.
They balled out last year, and if I'm him, and I'm I had a career year with you guys,
Mhm.
and now because Kyrie's a free agent, you're quick to be like, yo, we may or may not give you big money. We gotta wait and see. They mess around too much, and he might dip. D'Lo might be downloaded somewhere else next year, and Kyrie might not come. And now you're stuck with nobody.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
It's very similar to that meme that you always see online with the guy walking with his girl and he's looking back at the chick walking away. That's the position the Nets are in right now. They're playing with fire, and it could bite them in the ass. What do you think of this movie right now? Hold on.
With the
The Crawl with
with the Gators?
the Gators?
Nah,
I'm not messing with that.
no.
That's putting a bad thought in my mind. If there's a hurricane and it starts flooding out,
I ain't worried about that. I'm just
And-
saying.
and you live somewhere like down south,
I'm just saying. I'm done watching video. Like I don't want to watch movies like that no more. Like I don't. They always try to remake like Jaws almost. You know what I'm saying? Like. I don't know,
but that's a different spin on the movie that I never seen. Like you don't think of, okay, here's a natural disaster, and I'm trying to save my house, and I'm trying to swim through the galley or my
We
street.
ain't gotta worry about that in New York.
I know not up here, but I'm saying I live down there. Deuces, I'm sitting on my roof, and that's
I'll
that's
tell you
a wrap.
this. I won't watch it in the movie theater. Maybe if it was on TV and I was just hanging
You
out.
flip it through the channels, rainy day.
I might
snow day.
watch. It might be worth to watch. I ain't going to the movies to watch
Yeah.
it.
Like what was it, Lake Placid back in the day, with a giant alligator.
Yeah, and a lady would feed it, and she kept it as like a pet in her backyard.
Yeah,
Is that
but it was
the one?
like some ginormous alligator that lived in this lake.
Yeah, I think I remember which one you're talking about.
Little throwback there. Speaking of throwbacks, we got Toy Story 4 coming out this week.
The last.
The last one, the very last.
That's killing my childhood.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The end of a long era. Because I remember back in the day when it first came out, Toy Story 1, I was one of them kids that was fortunate enough to get my very own Buzz Lightyear.
Where are you now?
Yes, it was.
Was that like a Christmas thing or
Yes, it
just
was.
because
It was
Wow,
a Christmas thing.
you're very special.
Yeah.
Parents thought highly of you.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever had a Toy Story toy.
I was big on it, man. Buzz Lightyear. To infinity and beyond, baby.
So you're telling me you're not taking your son to watch this movie?
Oh,
for your
no,
son?
we are going
No,
to.
you're taking him, but it's
Yeah.
more for you than your son. You're
Well-
basically using your son as an excuse to go see the
Well,
movie.
That's just one of them. Wait till Lion King comes out.
Oh, Lion
I
King.
will be, my
Dope.
ass will be front row.
Lion King looks really good, man.
That looks official.
Yeah, I can't wait for Lion King.
The pick is in for the Pistons, though, by the way. We're just waiting for the commissioner to come out and give us the news on what the pick is. They're showing the previous,
Non-lottery diamonds.
selections. 15th overall pick seems to be popular. You got Kawhi Leonard, you got
Dude,
Giannis.
a lot of these players are so like in the NFL. You have kids that go to college for the 3 years, come out, and you kind of know what they're going to be.
Right.
So I feel like for the NFL, it's a little easier to not miss. In the NBA, you're drafting kids.
Yeah.
You don't know if they're done growing. You don't know.
Mentally where they're at.
Yeah, it's such a crapshoot with the
But
NBA
that's
draft.
why I think if you don't come out, say you implement the rule, okay, you can come out of high school. But if you don't come out of high school, I think you at least got to stay two years.
All right, real quick, say that name.
Sekou Dumobayuya.
I'm gonna go out and say that's not how you say
That's
it.
not how you say it.
I'm gonna have to Google translate that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. This is when you gotta whip out the Fran Fraschilla draft list because he's the one that does all the overseas players.
He just started playing ball 6 years ago at age 15. Never played before at that.
Yeah, that's okay. That doesn't bother me. A lot of the kids that come from other sports, they get their footwork in, whether it be soccer, whether it be
Football, baseball,
Yeah,
whatever
football.
the case may be.
I don't really.
And a lot of the times now, scouts are looking for you to be a multiple sport athlete. They're not looking for you to play basketball all year round and not dabble in anything else and being strictly a one sport athlete. They're looking a lot now for being a multiple sport athlete.
So he's the youngest player in the draft. What age did you say he started playing?
15 years old.
No, he went pro at 15.
What was that? Sorry?
He went pro at 15.
He went pro at 15. They said he started playing 6 years ago.
Started playing professionally 6 years ago.
No, well, from what it looked like, it was he started playing.
Listen, all I'm saying is he picked up a basketball and just started playing professionally. That's pretty damn crazy.
Yeah.
He looks smooth in transition.
Yeah.
Looks like a really good athlete.
That looked like a hard fall there.
About to pin this. Yup. He averaged almost 18 points as a 15-year-old in the FIBA under 18 games. He definitely went pro 6 years ago.
Yeah.
The added bonus you get with players like this is, like I said, there's not a really big transition period for most of them. I mean, he looks a little slighter of build than Luka did.
Yeah.
But
here you put him in a system with Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond
and Reggie Jackson. I mean, they do have some talent in Detroit. It's just one of those places where not a lot of free agents are going to go. So they have to hit on all their picks.
Yeah.
All of them.
Like they did the year with Chauncey and Ben Wallace and Rip
Don't
Hamilton.
forget about Rip.
Yeah.
They had Antonio McDyess.
Yeah.
That team was stacked.
the year of the Malice at the Palace.
That was pretty bad. I was actually watching that live, and I thought it was like, I don't know, I was young at the time. I thought it was like a
joke.
Yeah, I thought it was fake. I was like, no, this can't be real.
Do you remember back in the day when they brought out, I believe it was called Slam Ball?
Oh, Slam Ball. Yo, shout out to Mob and my boy Inches. Did you remember Inches on Mob? My man was like 5'9", and he used to just throw it on people. Yeah,
I always thought that game was a broken or torn ACL.
Wait, so did you not remember that they, at one part, I forgot it was like the third, fourth season, and I don't even remember how many seasons it lasted. They actually had like a show on Spike TV where it was their open tryouts, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys that was playing, and it went up for a dunk and like missed the trampoline on the way down. And his leg, all right, so the Ware injury from Louisville, like that. Like he fell, he jumped off of one trampoline, boomed it, but as he was coming down, just didn't land right or missed the trampoline, and his bone stayed straight up and his leg laid on the ground.
Oh.
It was pretty.
And that was the end of Slam Ball right there.
Yeah, after that, I feel like so Slam Ball is cool, but I don't see a lot of parents. Like, it's not a league where you can start young. Like, not a lot of parents are going to be like, yeah, sure, son, you want to play football? And then last second, first of all, if you're allowed to hit stick somebody as they're about to jump on a trampoline, you see it all the time, similar to the Gordon Hayward injury. But, like, if I tap you when you're in the air.
You're going, yeah.
I don't care how big you are, it's not going to end well.
Yeah.
So now you're telling me I get free reign to knock your ass out while you're running and trying to jump towards the trampoline? That sport was an injury waiting to happen. It was kind of cool. Especially for a guy like me who knew he was never going to dunk anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, maybe we could turn that. And then I saw the hits they were taking. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Now you just got to go to bounce.
Yeah, now I just got to go practice that bounce.
Trampoline spots.
But how my knee tendonitis is working out right now, I ain't going to bounce neither.
All right. Orlando selection is in. 16th overall pick.
I'm about to hook my headphones up to there goes the name again.
Okay. I thought he was going to go much later because of the injury. They had him projected basically towards the end of the first round. But they've got him at 16. Chuma Okiki?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the second pronunciation you chose.
Kid was solid in the tournament. Tough injury.
Yeah, no, that was really deflating for them.
Yeah.
I remember when he went
They were
down.
having a really good run.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, they still ended up having a good run, as you see him boom it on somebody. Yeah, that's very unfortunate, man. Especially for a kid who's worked so hard to be in that
Ready for that
NCAA
position,
tournament.
yeah.
For him to go down like that, so it's good. Damn, I couldn't stop yawning. That's my bedtime. Yeah, they're comparing because I'm reading about Tyler Hero now, just to see what like the pro comparison is. They're comparing him to Landry Shamet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not excited about that. No disrespect. I mean, he's a decent player, but I wasn't hoping to come away with the 13th pick with a Shamet.
Yeah. Brooklyn's is on the clock. We're about halfway through, a little more than halfway through the first round. Pick 17 of 30. So they're just breaking down Chuma Okeke right now. And ESPN player rank was 9. Jay Billis' rank was 37.
That's a big discrepancy.
Yeah, that's quite big right there. Now, speaking of these analysts on TV, did you see that the Jets were looking into Todd McShay for their GM position?
I did see that. Well, you have to figure once Mike Mayock, was it Mayock? Who got that?
I think it was Mayock.
Yeah, once he got that job for the Rangers, I don't think it's that crazy depending on what you plan on having him do.
Yeah.
He's been breaking down college football players for
forever,
for years now. So he knows what he's talking about, and I don't think it would have been. And he had a tie to Joe Douglas.
Yes, he did.
So there was that tie there. He ended up staying put.
So now we've got 1 minute 45 left, waiting for Brooklyn to shell out their pick here. Do you think they stay put? Do they trade out?
No, I think you'll see more towards the end of the first round. I think some teams looking to get back into the first round and get a player that they maybe didn't think was falling. They have Nazir Little right now in his all red suit. I think that might be a good pick for the Nets. Yeah, I mean, he coincides with the best player available. I think the second player too, Brandon Clark. I really like his game.
Yeah.
He transferred it. He was a transfer into Gonzaga. Ended up playing really well in the tournament. I'm digging that black suit too.
Yeah.
That's a nice suit.
Suits, jerseys. We talked about your team having the best jersey this year. I would say second on that list for me personally was Brooklyn's
the Biggie joints.
Yes.
Yeah. Those Biggie jerseys were tough, man.
Those were official with the spread love. It's the Brooklyn way.
I just wish Toronto would go back to the real Raptors jerseys.
Why does Bol remind me of Samuel L. Jackson in Unbreakable and what was the last one that they had? Glass.
Oh, you talking about the one? Yeah,
he's a villain.
Yeah,
right.
But he don't got the gray hair.
He don't have the gray hair streak, but that's what he reminds me.
I can see it a little. I thought she was about to pull out another movie. I'm like, nah, he didn't really look like him. I was gonna have to agree on that.
Brooklyn is still has not put in their pick. 3, 2, 1.
They forfeited it.
And wait, there it is. Last second buzzer beater.
Like, what makes them wait that long?
I don't know.
They have to know who it is.
Like
he kind of looks like Sideshow Bob in that.
He really does. I like the Sideshow Bob piece though. That's very dope. D-Wade, this isn't just a game; it's a way of life. Congrats, Zion. Way to let your heart do the talking. Hashtag CAA family.
Dwayne Wade gone, but not forgotten.
Yeah.
He's still part of the NBA.
Your boy giving a shout out. Do you think we see him doing some analysis?
I don't know, man.
On a broadcast.
I feel like you'll see him laid back only because he's got his son now teaming up with Bronny Jr. I think he's going to want to be there for a lot of that. So I don't see him coming. Maybe he'll do like spot shows, but I don't see him going like full time. Eventually, he might come back around. He definitely has the personality to do it.
I do love the boys on TNT. That whole dynamic of Ernie, Barkley, Shaq, and
Kevin, or was it Smith? Kenny Smith. All right, Brooklyn selects here. See who they got. They are taking Kelly Alexander Walker.
Yeah, from Virginia. How do you feel about that
proposed trade to New Orleans?
Did you get what they got back for him?
I did not know.
Another person born in Toronto. Toronto is making a come up with basketball. Man. I'm not just saying because of the Raptors. Neither. They have a couple basketball players coming out of Toronto. Yeah, so right now they graded the Heat's pick as a C+.
C+, wow.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't see this come through of a trade between New Orleans and Brooklyn. But this is coming through that there was a proposed trade. So it'll be interesting to see what they received and what is going back and forth in this right now. So
I'm trying to see if I can find it real quick.
Unless maybe this is from a few years back or, one of those.
No, but if it was for a few years back, they would have probably had the logo on it like they did to the Suns pick earlier.
Right. Now, Indiana's on the clock. Indiana's a team that kind of, without their leader.
Before Victor Oladipo's injury.
Before he went down, they were doing well.
And let's take a second to remember when Victor Oladipo went to Indiana, the Hoosiers, I'm not even talking Pacers, he was balling.
Mm-hmm.
And I really thought when he went to OKC, I was like, all right, him, Russell Westbrook, that might be a nice 1-2 punch. Didn't obviously work out there. For him to be able to rekindle his career over in Indiana and become the man there, I think is an awesome story.
Right.
Because there was a lot of people that kind of just said, okay, his ship sailed. We thought he was going to be something. Turned out not. There was a lot of Dwayne Wade comparisons of him coming out when he was coming out in the draft. So to see him pick up where he left off as far as being a star in college and then being able to go to Indiana and finally put everything together is a good look.
Yeah. Now, they're kind of middle of the pack picking here, the Pacers. It will help the team, so it is a plus for them. And let's not forget the year that Oladipo was healthy, they took the Cavs to 7 games that year with LeBron James.
They did.
And almost beat him. LeBron did put the boom down and took care of it, but it will be interesting to see how the Pacers step up and how Oladipo is after his injury.
I agree. I think you'd have to be surprised. I think the biggest surprise is that the best available player right now, Nasir Little, is actually still on the board. I know he didn't really have the best production, like we said, in North Carolina, but...
Okay, we go Euro here. Goga Dizzy? Bidez?
I'm going to leave that one up to you.
Bidazi. Maybe, I don't know. From the Republic of Georgia.
His basketball idol is Zaza Pachulia. I don't think I could have drafted him just based off of that.
Yeah. The only other person that I remember from the Republic of Georgia is our boy who fights out of Serra-Longo's camp.
No, but I thought she was going to hit me with a basketball. Right? I was like, wow, I'm surprised.
Nah, Marib, shout out to Marib, who fights out of Serra-Longo with Aljo.
He's 19 years old. Someone needs to get a birth certificate on this man. 19 years old, and he's already got I thought he was going to get boomed on.
19.
Oh, he's about to get him with a second block. Come here.
Double block. Oh,
he kind of looks like Ernest Cantor running around out there.
He does. 19 years old, looking like he's playing with boys. Could this be another Daniel Monte situation?
No, I hope it's not that far.
Someone check that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He don't look 19 to me. I wasn't on that Pediasure plan.
Looks like a grown ass man. Spurs are on the clock.
They'll end up drafting somebody nobody's ever heard of and turn them into
some Euro guy who's going to be.
I was actually excited last year when they took Walker out of Miami, being a Hurricanes player. Yeah. I was happy to see him go to the Spurs. I know he dealt with some injuries, but I do like him.
Well, this is fun, man. We got almost done with our first NBA draft live. We've done the NFL draft twice now.
Yeah, so it has been twice. Yeah. The NFL draft is fun too.
Yeah,
I like the NFL draft, man.
Yeah,
the NBA as a league is doing a lot better, I feel, of trying to become what the NFL is, which is no days off.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL is 24/7, 365 machine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we finished the Super Bowl months ago, and we're still talking about NFL news, whether it be the way they handle free agency and the players' movement, whether they handle the draft, and all the players that go into, being drafted. I just think the NFL does a great job of always keeping their brand at the forefront, and the NBA is slowly working their way there. People are starting to talk more and more about the draft, more and more about free agency.
Mm-hmm. Free agency for the NBA is starting to become a big deal.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago where, like, if you were a big time player, you don't switch teams.
Yeah.
You ride it out with whatever team until they decide to trade you.
I think it was that Kevin Durant year where it really popped off, because I remember that day I was at the water park with the family.
With your floaties?
With my floaties.
Do you wear the swim shirt?
No, I do.
Oh, thank you. I thought you were.
I let it rock out, man.
I thought you were a swim shirt guy.
No shame in my game. I also is full bear all the time.
I'm just curious.
Nah, man. I let it rock out. But yeah, it's becoming a must tune into event. Whether you're glued to your phone, you're glued to Bleacher Report, ESPN's Twitter, whatever the case may be, you're glued to Woj's Twitter page, waiting for him to pop off with something.
So, not to cut you off, but on accident, I did look at Bleacher Report, and I saw who the Spurs were picking. Remember I told you they're going to pick somebody you've never heard of?
Yes. They did.
Pay attention to who flashes upon your screen.
All right. Are you going to take the name on this one? Or
no,
am I going to have to take this one?
They like the European players. I stay far away from that. I don't want to disrespect any of them.
You'll just let me do it.
I'll just let you make a fool of yourself.
Cool, man. Cool. I appreciate the love here.
I appreciate you appreciating me.
Yeah. But the Spurs did re-sign Pop. There was talk of him possibly not coaching anymore.
Pop's a genius, man. Pop's one of the best coaches in any sport. Yeah. Pop was, for all those people that hate players sitting out now, Pop was the one who started that.
He was.
Pop was the Pop
Remember
was
when
the
he
guy.
Just blatantly put out, I think it was Tim Duncan, old. That's what he put down.
My man would say to Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, and Tim Duncan, yo, we're playing such and such team. We don't need you for this road trip. Go home. Go home. Don't even bother coming on the flight. You're sick. And then the problem was, though, is he would go out there with his B team and still smack teams. So what could you say to him? It's not like you could say, oh, you're throwing games. It's bad for the league.
It doesn't work.
Like, he was going out there. He was winning. He was the first coach I ever saw actually do this whole maintenance program with his older players. And obviously they were successful doing it. So, bro, here's my thing. They're running it down every pick to the clock. Their pick, I'll tell you right now. Hold on. Their pick. Come on. Yeah, the pick's been in for like 6 minutes.
And they still haven't announced it. That's great.
That's why it's taking so long.
All right. The commissioner's out. The pick is in, even though we know who it's going to be. Spurs select Luka Samanic, power forward from Croatia. He didn't even have a table. He's sitting in the crowd.
That's what I'm saying, yo. The Spurs, I told you, the Spurs always do that. Apparently, Dame Lillard just dropped a diss track to Marvin Bagley.
Really?
Don't know why. I did not know that they had a beef.
Oh, man.
That's pretty funny.
Dame going for the jugular, basically.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with Dame. I guess he
Wow, he wasn't even close. Like, he wasn't like first row in the crowd. He's like deep in that section. All right, here we go. 19-year-old. Let's see his highlights. Let's see what the Spurs see here.
Nice little spin move.
Yeah, nice little spin move.
He's playing in a loaded arena.
Yeah.
See all those fans?
Crowded right there.
Okay, so apparently Marvin Bagley, in my TMZ news, Marvin Bagley challenged him to a rap battle. So Damian Lillard quickly came up with a diss track.
Yeah, I do see that it says Dame drops a bag. The Bagley diss track.
How much do those workouts matter?
The Celtics are on the clock again. I didn't know they had 2 picks in the first round. We are 10 picks from the end of the draft. 4 minutes and 52 seconds here for the Celtics on the clock. They're showing Samanic walk through. He just did his ESPN. I don't know if he did the ESPN interview. I think he kind of walked right through it. But Bol is still, man, this is not a good still photo for him.
Nah, I was actually just reading some. I guess somebody asked about Donovan Mitchell to Josh Hart in an interview.
Right.
And Josh Hart said Donovan Mitchell was picked high in the draft because he busted his ass in one of the workouts. No, well, it was a good interview though.
Yeah, I can see good call there. Now these are some of the best commercials, I have to admit.
Yeah, but they're not even friends anymore.
Yeah, Harden. Yeah.
I wonder if that means that they're going to stop.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Do you think there is validity to that?
I could see it only because Chris Paul is a point guard that obviously wants to make the right play all the time, whether it's a pass, a hockey assist, jump shot. I think a lot of the ways James Harden plays can frustrate any other superstar. I think that even if they get rid of Chris Paul, they're going to have a hard time convincing another superstar to go there.
Right.
While James Harden is great at what he does, and it can win games, obviously, I just think that it's not a style of play that other superstars are going to line up to be a part of.
Yeah.
He's not really out there, filling the lanes. You see it all the time. If he doesn't get that ball in that outlet pass, there's times where he doesn't cross half court. He doesn't, when he gives the ball up, he stands. He never gives the ball up and cuts or goes to the opposite side of the court. So while he's getting his and he's scoring buckets, I mean, it's not, I wouldn't have fun playing with a player like that.
That's why I don't think he's going to win a championship.
No, I don't see him winning a
I
championship.
don't see it. He's going to go down as one of these players that has tremendous personal stats and such, but will not win the big one.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to win a championship. I think it's funny, too, because I think the West is wide open now with all the injuries to Golden State. We'll see what Kyrie. Whoa, I meant to say Kawhi. I don't know that. Listen, we've been on for like 2 hours and getting a little tired. We'll see what Kyrie and Kawhi Leonard end up doing. But I think this is a time where if Houston didn't have issues and they stuck together, I think this year they could go in.
It's the perfect storm.
Yeah, I think they could go in as favorites, even though you have the Lakers adding Anthony Davis. So we'll see. I think it's just a bad time for them to
be imploding.
Yeah, to be imploding and start pointing the finger at themselves.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. The pick is in here for the Celtics. Probably got a couple more minutes before they actually announce it. This has to be the Barclays Center. I don't know if you've ever been.
Yeah, man.
one of the worst places to park or to get out of a parking area. I've parked on the street, and it's been great because I know my way around Brooklyn. I can get in and out, whatever. But when you're in that parking structure, you're sitting for a good hour before you get out.
I went there. When I went there, I wasn't driving, so I didn't have to worry about it. I went to a Sixers Nets game. Jimmy Butler had just gotten there like 2 weeks,
Okay.
and he had a game winner. It's pretty sweet. It's the first game winner I ever saw.
If you do get a chance when you go, try to park on the street. It's a lot easier. A couple blocks over. It's not as bad as it used to be. So the pick is in here. Let's see what the Celtics do. Here we go.
All right. The best defensive player left in the draft out of Washington. He got a tough bro. There's been like 28 of the 20 names I haven't been able to pronounce.
Matisse Thybulle moved to Australia when he was 2 and lived there for 7 years. So we've got the second pick for the Celtics now. They are filling certain holes that they have. They're still going to need a big to replace Al Horford.
Al Horford when he leaves, yeah.
But I think a good name out on the market with him gone, Marc Gasol's out there.
He is, but I could see Marc Gasol going right back to Toronto.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, he won his first championship there. I could see, especially, if Kawhi comes back.
If Kawhi comes back, then yeah. If Kawhi doesn't.
I don't know how much he has left in the tank, though. I know he had a couple good plays here and there, but he's not the same guy that was dominant for Memphis. I mean,
those Gasol boys, though, they love Canada.
They do love Canada.
Yeah. I mean, when I lived out in Spain for those few years, that's my culture and stuff. So for me, being a big NBA fan, those guys being Spaniard was cool to watch. And in Spain, those two are
listen,
gods.
Spain had because they had Ibaka.
Mm-hmm.
This is when Ricky Rubio was supposed to be the next great thing. They had quite the team.
Jose Fernandez.
Yeah, they had. Was it Huertas?
Yeah.
He was on there too.
Mm-hmm.
So Spain had quite the team. I mean, it wasn't being Team USA, but they gave them a good run for their money.
Yeah, I mean, they were always second best. It would always be either Spain and Argentina coming right behind.
Yeah, Argentina had a good squad too. I think next up, Canada got some pretty good players.
Canada's going to be the next.
Canada's got some really good players coming out of Canada.
Man, that's tough. You're going to ask a kid about, how he feels. Like, I know it's an emotional time, but to ask him, they got to be asking him something about his mom because they just played it up on the broadcast, showing pictures, and his mom passed away when he was junior in high school, I believe they said.
Yeah, man, that's gotta be tough.
That's tough. That's you want to enjoy the moment that you're in.
So great. Now I got to become a fan of his just because of the backstory.
Yeah. Like, that's tough, man. That's not a question you want to answer right there.
Yeah, but you get it. You want him to show emotion.
Yeah, so, you want the fans to gravitate towards him as well. The Thunder are on the clock, and then Boston is on the clock again.
Yeah, and that's the thing with these. When you acquire multiple first-round picks, I mean, if you hit on all of them, it's great. But a lot of times what you see teams do is try and package them up to move further up in the draft. Or if they don't want to move further up in the draft, they use it to acquire players. Very rarely do you see players go and draft 2-3 first-round picks. I know Boston has actually done it a couple of times.
Right.
But we'll see what happens, see if that pick is – I think at this point, man, take a shot on someone like for Boston – like Bol for a center. You said they're going to need somebody.
They're going to need somebody to fill that hole.
Yeah, to fill that hole. So I think this is the time where They got the kid from Villanova who's from New York. I forgot what part of New York he's from. But it's near us.
Right.
The kid from Villanova. Eric Pascal.
I did just see a proposed trade to Philly for that last pick. Let's see. Let's wait for this the tracker to come through here. We haven't been getting what the proposed trades and things popping up recently.
Oklahoma City has traded the number 21 pick to Memphis.
Okay. So Memphis is on the clock here. But I believe it was the pick before where they were showing that it was a proposed trade to Philly. We'll get you guys that.
There's possibility. There's a possibility of trading him to the Sixers. Okay. So, deal was agreed upon. Sixers will send Boston number 24 and 33 in the draft.
Okay.
So, Sixers move back a couple spots. Boston moves back a couple spots and picks up an extra pick.
Okay. And what's it called then took Tabule then, I believe. Right?
Yeah, so you still have a couple really good, I think the top four there all have the potential to be really good players. I like Brandon Clark a lot. I think he was the unsung hero on that Gonzaga team. I know Hachimura got a lot of the publicity, but you see a lot of those games and he was playing that Batman to the Robin.
Right. So that is a proposed trade to Philly. So Philly will get the last pick that was just picked in Matisse Tabule. He will be going to Philadelphia. And then, as Joey said before, the picks will be going to the Celtics. So what they do with those picks...
Boston doing Danny Ainge-like things, wheeling and dealing.
Stacking picks for no damn reason.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel
it's not the NFL where you can stack picks like the Patriots.
Yeah.
And it pans out in the later rounds.
No, I kind of just like taking the best player available unless you get blown away.
Yeah. We got the Thunder pick is in. I feel like they're milking the time now. They're trying.
They're definitely milking the time.
They're trying to make this broadcast go longer.
I mean, what? This kicked off at 7:30.
7:30, right? Mm-hmm. Now, with the Thunder, you've got Paul George there. Steven Adams, Russell Westbrook. What do they need to put them over the hump? And can they get over the hump?
They need Russell Westbrook to consistently hit his jump shot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of times where he takes the approach of I'm going to take over the game, which is all good and fine. But if you go 3 for 20 from the field, that's an issue.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see, man. I know Westbrook has made strides as a jump shooter, but he's really struggling to be a knockdown shooter. Apparently, this is proposed trade to Memphis.
Right. So Brandon Clark was picked by OKC.
I think he started off in San Jose State, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, he started off at San Jose State as a transfer.
And now he is going to Memphis with Ja Morant. So Memphis is restocking the cupboard after they kind of emptied it out a little bit with Mike Conley getting rid of that contract and Marc Gasol. And the replacements you got were Grayson Allen, Jay Morant, Brandon Clark here, also Kyle Korver. You got a shooter.
Yeah, another shooter
as well.
Space out the floor.
Yeah. Oh damn.
Yeah, no, the dude's got some
athletic. Right?
bungees. Yeah, he's definitely a great athlete. That's him pinning Zion's layup
Yeah.
on the backboard, which is impressive. He's a good athlete, great finisher around the rim.
Chauncey's comparison, which we haven't seen recently, with
Shawn Marion.
Okay.
I can see it from an athletic standpoint. I just can't get over that jump shot. I do not know how Shawn Marion hit a jump shot.
Yeah. But he stuck around in the league for a long time.
No, he did. He was a great player. I'm just saying that jump shot scares the hell out of me.
Same thing as Joakim Noah?
Nah, but Joakim Noah can't shoot. Like, Shawn Marion was
he could be shooter.
He was a pretty consistent corner 3 shooter.
Yeah.
The Matrix. One of the best nicknames, too.
Yeah. All right, the Celtics are on the clock again. Do you think they take Little here? They pull him off the board?
I mean, at some point, he's got to stop this cliff-like fall for him. You got to feel for kids, too, he's sitting there.
You know what it reminds me of? You remember Matt Leonard?
Yeah,
back in the day? And how he was going to be the next big thing coming out.
Yeah.
They had the draft day videos, and come pick like 22, he's still sitting in him and Brady Quinn. I don't know who was worse.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Sometimes you see those draft day slides, and you kind of feel bad for them. You gotta remember that they're kids trying to accomplish a dream. Some of them you could tell. Some of them taking a stride.
Yeah.
Who was it this year that was in the green room, didn't get drafted until the second round? Jawan Taylor, the tackle from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going to go in the first round. Well, he was supposed to go in the first round, ended up not going in the first round. Showed up the next day, went to the team that they said was probably going to take him in the first round, which was Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Can't blame them because Josh Allen fell into their lap. But
yeah, we're still waiting on the Celtics here. They're showing R.J. Barrett and Walt Clyde Frazier taking pictures together at the Panini card signing day that they have for the rookies.
Yo, Walt Frazier, stay having the suits,
Stay
man.
having the ill suits.
I don't know if they're ill, but they're Walt Frazier, man. He's always been dressing like that.
How would you feel as one of these players? You haven't gotten signed yet. You're signing your rookie cards, and you're signing stacks on stacks of cards just over and over again.
Listen, you just gotta keep that check within eyes reach and go, yep, I'm good with that.
I'm good with it.
Although I will tell you this, I will adopt a shorthand signature. I'm not doing the whole name.
Yeah.
I'm giving you the simple J.O.
Yeah. With a number.
That's it.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it simple.
D. Wade just gave a shout out to R.J. Barrett on a tweet.
R.J. Barrett's a killer, man. I love him. I'm telling you, he's gonna be a good player for the Knicks.
D. Wade says he likes this for him. Congratulations, young boy, and that he's excited to see what Fizdale can do.
Yo, D. Wade got a lot of time today.
Yeah. Man, he's retired. He's living that retired life, baby.
Yeah, but he got enough kids. Yeah. Keep him busy.
He got enough kids. He's got wifey out there making that bread.
Yeah, she probably out shooting a movie right now.
Yeah. Or what is it? America's Got Talent? She's on that show too. Yeah, she's on that show too. I'll be catching the highlights of that. All right, we are 8 picks from the end of the first round. $1:15 left on the Celtics.
Another thing that the NBA has to take from the NFL, I mean, I'm doing it now because these picks are taking forever, but the NFL did a good job of now you're not allowed to broadcast the pick before it happens. Yo, Woj is just dropping bomb after bomb. Like, he already has this pick in.
Nice. Now, are we seeing Bobo come off the board before the pick is actually on, or is he still...
I think he's definitely going to be a first round. I think the talent's there. I think he's going to go in the first round. Like I said, I'd just be scared to draft him because just his frame, he's barely 200 pounds.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's tough for a man built like that to play a game like basketball, especially if his body was suffering injuries and kind of breaking down at Oregon, what's going to happen when he plays, 82 of them.
Right.
And beyond.
Yeah. Now, whose frame? I know this guy's a bit of a project. He's not as polished as Bobo, but Taco Fall.
Yeah, I mean, Taco's he's
He's not as polished. He's more of a work in progress.
I mean, skill wise, they're not even close.
Right.
I mean, Taco, size wise, they're not even close. Taco's a monster compared to him.
Mhm.
I think he played really well in the tournament. You just gotta understand that with UCF, they could go to like a zone with him in the game and have him just patrol the paint. I don't know if he has the foot speed to keep up with a lot of the big men that are playing in the NBA game, which is why I see him going in the second round, even though he possesses the size that he has.
Right.
So it's another player I'm interested in seeing. You can't replicate that type of height, and he's not slight of frame. He's put together.
Yeah.
So we'll see where he ends up, and we'll see what he becomes.
I know a lot of people have him projected as a second round talent.
Yeah.
So we won't see him going anytime soon.
No.
We'll give you guys an update on the second round later after we go off the air. But here we go. The pick is in.
Yep.
Grant Williams, power forward from Tennessee.
So now you're seeing a lot of players, I mean, not go with what is perceived to be best player available. Now, when you get towards the end of the first round, it's interesting because it's not like the NFL where you have 7 rounds,
right,
where teams in the first round, teams in the second round are looking to go and take players that they know are going to be starters or take best player available. Sometimes at the bottom of the first round, like we're getting to now, you'll see teams look for more fits.
Yeah.
Because they're not looking
to fill spots.
They're really not looking to get a player, and you'd be nice, but they're not looking for the 22nd, 23rd player to come in and be a star.
Oh, that's interesting. They're showing the Charlotte Reign AAU team that Grant Williams played on. It was coached by Jay Billis.
And Daniel Jones.
The quarterback for the New York Giants, was his teammate. Oh, and his mom was a NASA safety engineer.
That's one hell of a background.
Yeah. You don't get that. Is your mom a rocket scientist? Hell yeah, she is.
Yeah, right?
So Tobias Harris is pumped for
another former Tennessee player.
Yeah.
He came a long way.
Yeah,
Tobias.
He did.
I mean, he was good in college, but he really developed. Oh, that little kid about to have an expensive basketball.
Yes, he is. I do enjoy the relationship between Boban and Tobias.
Oh my God! If the NBA separates them, I might go on strike.
You have to keep them. They have to go as a package.
Their dance videos are hilarious.
They're hilarious.
Boban, I don't know if you saw it, but he makes a guest appearance in John Wick 3.
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
I haven't seen John Wick 3. I gotta
Did you see? You didn't see 1 or 2 either, right? Doesn't know what a good movie is. Yeah. All right, well, 1 and 2 are must-sees. 3, you could live without, but...
That's the one with Halle Berry, correct?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
I'm guessing it's not like Monsters Ball Halle Berry. That was a different...
That was different time.
That's a different look.
But she has some dope-ass German Shepherds.
Nice. So we are pick 23. The Jazz are on the clock. Then we got Philly and Portland. I believe the Philly pick goes to Boston here, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Now, I know I got the Blazers jersey on because I do want to see them get somebody to help my boy Dame Lillard out. For teams like Portland, I think it's easier to kind of shoot for the stars when they make their draft picks, only because as good as their backcourt is, again, you're not really hearing players clamor to go over there.
Right.
So they kind of got to get theirs through the draft. And you see it with the players they have. Like CJ McCollum was drafted by them. Lillard was drafted by them.
Right.
So I'm interested to see what small market teams do in the draft. You get a team like Portland who's coming up. Do they take, I know I've been saying it over and over, but do they take a player like Bobo, who a lot of teams that can get free agents are like kind of weary about the injuries?
Right.
Do they kind of shoot for the stars? because that's kind of their best shot to build around the talent that they have. If anything,
you still got a lot of guys. You got Kangili.
The guy I like too, that they have 8th overall, Ty Jerome from Virginia.
Right.
The dude's a baller, man.
Mm-hmm.
The dude, he can really play.
Yeah. Now, I believe Cantor is a free agent now, right?
Yeah, and he played really well.
He did play well for them. He got exposed in that Warrior series by not closing the distance on the picks, on the switches and stuff like that. They're showing Bobo now. Carson Edwards.
If Carson Edwards was 4 inches taller, he'd be a lottery pick.
Right.
That's just what it is. But he carried that team offensively. I don't know if you got a chance to watch him in the tournament, but it was scary.
Yeah.
Every time down the floor, he was putting the ball in the basket. It was crazy.
Nasiri Little is still sitting there. They still have him as the best overall small forward.
Well, I'm here to tell you he will not be going to the Jazz. Or, I'm sorry. Wait, what?
The Jazz, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The Jazz pick is in. Woj
but I don't think. Wait a second. It's saying it has it as OKC picking it. And with so many,
trade to
yeah.
So this is going to OKC then.
Yeah, because remember OKC traded the number 21 pick to Memphis.
Oh, okay.
And moved back the 3 slots.
Oh, so then Memphis gave them
a second rounder. And their pick, and then a second rounder next year.
And their pick was the one from the Jazz. Okay. And then we have Glass here, Bol on screen.
He's tight.
Yeah. Is his father still alive, or he passed away? I can't remember. I can't recall.
I don't know.
I think he may have passed
away. I think he did. I'm like 99.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we probably would have seen him.
He would have been there.
I do remember those iconic pictures of Muggsy Bogues
standing next to him. Yeah, I had
their was it the Washington Bullets jerseys?
I had an NBA book growing up that had that picture where they were both holding like the basketball. Yeah. Those are those Bullets jerseys. Yeah. Those need to come back too.
I remember one of my first games. I went to a New Jersey Nets versus Charlotte Hornets game, and that was when they had Larry Johnson and they had Muggsy Bogues, and I got to sit at the end of the bench during warm-ups. And Muggsy Bogues ran by me. And I was probably in about 5th or 6th grade at this point.
And you're like, I can make it.
Yo, I'm looking at Muggsy Bogues dead in the eye. I'm like, okay, I see you. You was in Space Jam.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
So it was pretty cool to see. Getting high fives from all those guys. All right, here we go. The Jazz pick. Well, let's have Jazz fans cheer, but this pick is going to OKC, and it's Darius Bazley.
Yeah.
Small forward from the United States. All right.
He is
high school. He played. What did he do?
You're gonna see no college from him.
Okay. Where did he play?
He was originally a Syracuse commit.
Okay.
And then he ended up in the NBA G League.
He was one of the guys to take the.
Well, he was going to, and then if I'm reading it correctly, he used the year basically to train and learn off the floor, like how he can improve his game, and ended up still becoming a first-round pick, which is kind of cool. He's actually the guy, I think he interned for New Balance. Yep, there it is. He's the guy who interned for New Balance but still made like $100,000. Oh. Yeah, so it was a paid internship that he got from New Balance.
Must be nice.
Oh, it was, yeah.
So it can be assumed that he's going to be signing with New Balance.
Yeah, him and Kawhi Leonard, teammates.
There you go.
And apparently, so this pick was supposed to be Boston, and now it's the Sixers.
Or was it the Sixers pick and now it's Boston?
No, Boston's pick, because Boston was exploring trading the pick that was acquired from Philly. So they acquired it, I guess, this could supposedly is going to go to Boston, but that Boston is looking to trade it.
Oh, okay. All right. If Boston's looking to get out here, who needs to come up? Who wants to come up and try to get something before the end of the first round?
Yeah, because we got, 6 picks left?
6 picks left. Portland, Cleveland are on deck.
Let's bring you guys some scores from around the sports world right now.
Got the Yankees up 8-3, so I've been keeping an eye on that. It got me hyped. Yeah, Chucky's coming out this Friday too, right?
Yes, sir.
Drops.
We have.
You don't do scary movies. That's not even a scary movie, though. That's more of like a thriller.
Not for me.
You scared of him?
No, I'm not scared of Chucky. I'll kick his ass.
I wouldn't say that.
We got Yanks are up 8-3, as Joey mentioned. The Cubs are up on the Mets 6-3. Some Women's World Cup. Team USA won 2-0 over Sweden. Advanced to the round of 16. Uruguay tied in the men's Copa America with Japan 2-2.
I hate ties.
Yeah.
In any professional sport, it bothers me.
Yeah.
Boston's trading the 24th pick here, even though they have it as the Sixers logo, to the Suns.
Okay. So I can assume that Bobo will continue to be on the board.
Yeah. Because the Suns are going to take someone we just talked about.
Mr. Little.
No. Who I said I like in Virginia.
Oh, okay. All right. So 24th pick is in, and it is going to Phoenix.
Yes. And if I'm an NBA player, I ain't trying to go to Phoenix.
I mean, if Phoenix can bring back those old school Sun jerseys.
It's basically 90% of the league should just go back to the jerseys they used to wear.
Yeah. I'd like to see Seattle get a franchise.
They deserve one. That's kind of dirty.
They use one. Would not be surprised soon that Las Vegas would get an expansion team.
Yeah. Like I said, once the NFL
starts popping off in Vegas, then, many of the leagues will follow suit. The table area is getting very light. There's not a lot of guys.
You never want to be that last guy.
You never want to be the last guy. Cam Reddish got out in the top 10. Still suit of the night. Who do you think suit of the night so far goes to?
I kind of like Brandon Clark's all black one.
Yeah, Brandon, that was fresh.
That was smooth. I like Romeo Langford. I liked his suit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with that. That all black suit was pretty popping.
Best pieces of jewelry so far.
That Rolex set.
Zion's Rollie and the Sideshow Bob.
Yep. Those are the two hottest ones. Worst suit of the night is going to have to go to that Jedi jump off.
Yeah, see, look, Ty Jerome from Virginia.
We
just talked about him.
He will be going to Phoenix.
So, excuse me. He's the point guard that they'll see if they can pair him up with Booker
Right.
and DeAndre Ayton. I really like Ty Jerome. Plays really good defense. All around good player. Can spot up and hit the jump shot consistently. He's able to create off the dribble pretty well too. So this is my my West Coast team up.
Yeah.
I wasn't too happy with my Miami selection, so hopefully
Maybe West Coast squad.
yeah, maybe my West Coast. Let's be real. I'm just hoping they pick somebody up so that I can have fun in 2K.
There you go.
That's my
2K is, I don't know if it's still $2.99.
Nah. I'm talking about the new 2K, man. Don't be trying to disrespect me like that. In fact, I can't wait for somebody to update the rosters for this year. They don't really look like the players,
Right.
but they're on the team at least.
Okay.
Start a little franchise mode with them until the new one drops.
It's coming out probably a couple months.
Yeah, they still got a couple months. So
October time.
I can rock with the generic lookalikes.
Yeah, you got some time before Madden comes out.
Yeah, no, I'm preparing for my GMAT, so I had to put the Xbox away. It gets really tempting to just put the pencil and pen down and just grab the controller. And next thing you know, you're only 3 games in, but it's really like 3 hours.
All right, Portland's still on the block. 3 minutes and 22 seconds before their selection is up. Chauncey Billups, his suit is looking pretty fresh right there. That little room jump off.
There's no reason why for him making the money he's made throughout his career and still continuing to make that he shouldn't have a popping suit.
Yeah.
His suit game should never be slacking. Look, Nazir Little already got the red, so maybe he should go to the City of Roses.
Spot, right?
Huh?
It's a perfect spot.
Yeah, he goes to the City of Roses. They could use a small forward.
Right.
They really could use a small forward. They already have a small backcourt. Kevin Porter could probably play the 3 for them if they really wanted to. He's a bigger 2 guard. They have their big man already at center, so I don't know if they take their shot at Bobo. But I can see Nazir Little going here, giving them a small forward. They have Mo Harkless there. Aminu can play there, but they keep him at the 4 sometimes. They usually play him at the 4. So I can see them looking for more production from that 3 spot.
All right, we are still waiting for them to come in with their pick. $1:55 left on their selection time here. Let's see where. Let's continue. Let's give you guys an update on the Yanks right now.
Bro, that game ain't going nowhere. They hitting bombs.
8-3 over Houston so far.
Maben is still reeking.
Yeah, Maben score. LeMahieu homered. Torres homered. And Sanchez homered. The homers are coming in pretty good before the arrival of Mr. All Rise.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be pretty scary when he gets back up. I'm just curious to see who they leave down. Like you're not gonna be able to have all these young players on your roster. You can't put. Oshello's been balling.
Yeah.
They already sent down Frazier.
Yeah.
You have to think.
He was the first casualty.
Yeah, you have to think that if pitching is still a need, that one of these players they might end up having to cut and or put down. They use in a package to draft. To acquire a pitcher.
40 seconds. The Trailblazers are taking their sweet ass time.
No, they're not. It's the NBA. The pick is already in, bro.
Damn. NBA, y'all are killing me, man.
I know this was. I didn't think it was going to be 3 hours.
I didn't think so either.
You know what's funny too with these Woj bombs? I don't think he can report who they're picking. Mm-hmm. So the way he words it is, I won't say the player so that you can see it, but it says Portland is focused on. So not drafting him. They're just focused on him.
Gotcha. They just had RJ Barrett walk out through the crowd.
Oh man, the second round's gonna get no love. These people out in Brooklyn are trying to get home.
Is the second round still tonight? Or are they?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, it's all.
I'm telling you.
The time's got to be shorter. Like, oh, okay, you got 30 seconds.
30. Pick is in now. Yeah, like so. Chauncey's. I can't hear him, but he's going over with.
What the needs are.
Yeah, what we had just said that they could use some help at the 3.
Yeah. Or stretch 4. Replenishing the bench, point guard, shooting guard, and a backup 5.
Yeah, basically anybody coming off the bench right now would help. They had a couple good players coming off the bench that contributed. I know Seth Curry played well.
He played very well in that Golden State series.
He did. Well, he was going to step it up. I mean, you're playing your brother.
You're playing your big brother. You got to show him.
And he kind of had the home court advantage. He knows his brother's, favorite moves. Yo, what's crazy is Cleveland's picks already in.
Oh, damn. I wonder if they're going to milk it on the screen here.
I guarantee you they will, but Cleveland's pick is in.
So picks 25 and 26 are already in. They're taking a while with the 25th pick before they come out and announce it. I wonder if they'll announce one, wait another 5 minutes, and then come back out.
They might. They might just do that.
So they're still showing Nasiri Little. He's looking saltier and saltier as the night goes on. That's Nasir.
Oh man, the R is silent now.
Nasir. He knows that camera's on him, and he don't look happy at all.
He'll be all right.
But here comes the Blazers pick. The commissioner is out. And here he is. Finally picked off
I
the
told
board.
you, City of Roses could use that red suit. And that was before the pick was dropped,
Yeah,
right? I don't want you thinking I cheated.
Mom a little late with the camera there. She's trying to record the whole moment for him. But
Mom and Dad was in the military.
Nice.
So you have to
favorite player, Kawhi Leonard. Be so good that nobody can ignore you. That quote is quite a tale, considering he dropped so far.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely ignored, but you can see on the bottom of the screen, man, he only played less than 20 minutes a game for North Carolina, and he was never a starter. He came off the bench in all 36 of them. So
his suit is pretty official. I do like that red on red.
No, the red's nice, and I think he's going to a perfect spot.
Yeah.
I really do. They could use help at small forward. He's a really good athlete, as you just see him pin some of these shots to the backboard right there. He's got everything. He's got all the tools. He's just got to put it together.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a good system fit for him. I just think in Portland, he's going to be able to flourish. I think this will be one of the more underrated first-round picks of this year's draft.
Right. So they are going to go ahead and say that the Cavaliers are on the clock. And they're going to run the timer down.
5 minutes, baby.
Yeah. Their pick is already in. The NBA is really going to milk this. This is something else, I may say.
Boston trade center Aaron Baines to Phoenix.
4 picks, I guess.
Huh?
For some picks.
They haven't said anything yet.
Okay. So we've got 4 picks left. And
Cleveland is on the clock. The pick is staying with them, correct?
Yeah, they picked somebody already.
They're focused on. Who are they focused on, Joe?
Woj
According
says,
to Woj.
And this is 4 minutes ago.
Okay.
Keldon Johnson, the kid from Kentucky.
Okay.
So still with 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Wonder if the NBA.
And they are going to go to the buzzer.
Wonder if the NBA will move it along now that those shoes don't go with that dress.
Nah, I know. I was seeing that earlier. I mean, I'm not gonna knock her because she probably kicked my ass, but.
Yeah. But I mean, you could have gone with some bright yellow kicks. They would have worked out in that situation.
Yeah, probably. Same shoes, just bright yellow.
So they're just recapping what happened in Cleveland, the departure of.
And this sucks too, because Cleveland fans are probably paying attention right now, and they're like, "Really, you about to show us
You
this?"
gonna throw this all out on us now? They did get a new head coach. The previous Michigan coach is now there. John Beilein.
Yeah, I was very surprised that he left Michigan, but
yeah. I did like Michigan's hire after him, the Juwan Howard pickup.
Yeah, for
that
real.
was a very, very good pickup for them.
The Heat lost the real one.
Yeah. He's a good coach, and I think coming back to that, his Fab 5 days, there's a lot of talk of the Fab 5 coming back together.
Knicks, everything, starters and bench. That's mad funny.
They're going to milk this Cavaliers pick here. There's 4 picks left. Probably another 40 minutes NBA time because they're going to milk this.
Yeah, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah. We may just sign off after this Cavaliers pick and then give you guys some updates on the gram, the final 4 picks, because NBA is going kind of crazy with their timing schedule. I get that you're trying to stretch it out, but when your lead inside reporter from ESPN
is dropping picks, 10 minutes
ago, and you're playing it out like they haven't put the pick in, you're just doing it for TV time at this point. We're creeping up on the 3-hour mark here for our live broadcast of the NBA.
Talk about a journey.
Draft. The very first one from the Bear Cave Studios. You right there, big guy?
Listen, all right, this table's round, so it kind of, it's got some, don't got a lot of wiggle room here.
Don't got a lot of room.
No, I gotta
We're a little tight here.
I gotta sit next to your ass for 3 hours. And I did a rookie mistake. I didn't bring no Gatorade. I didn't bring no water. You got me out here parched. You think you'd offer me a water, and I'm out here sucking on saliva.
Oh, man. I'll get you some water after this pick.
I very much appreciate it.
There you go. After this pick, we will sign off, and we really appreciate you guys for tuning in and checking in with the broadcast, watching along live with us. The commissioner is up for the 26th pick. The Cavaliers selection is Dylan Windler.
That boy can shoot the rock. I'm not just saying that because he's a white boy either. He can shoot the rock from Belmont.
Small forward from Belmont.
Yep.
Looks like a pure shooter here.
Yeah. Shot 54% from the field.
54% field goal shooter. So we thank you guys for tuning in with us. This is Joey, Freddie Loso signing off. We thank you guys. Catch us on the next episode of The Frenzy.
Probably have one coming up soon.
www.thesportsfrenzypodcast.com for all information and all podcast episodes. We thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.